Transportation Licensing Commission. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, notice is hereby given that if you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Courts. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. The next thing on our agenda is we're going to open for public comment. I have 3 names on the request to speak today. I want to remind the folks who want to speak that their comments are limited to 2 minutes and that it should be on a matter that is on our agenda today. The first person on the list is Josh Lee. Mr. Lee? And also, please introduce yourself before you begin speaking and identify what agenda item you want to speak to.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Josh Lee with Thompson Burton. On behalf of STR Towing, this comment is addressing the ownership change agenda item related to West Nashville Wrecker. As the Commission knows, the transaction with West Nashville Wrecker has never been approved by this Commission. This transaction was described to this Commission as adding a partner. STR will submit to you all that this is an unlawful transfer of a permit in an emergency wrecker zone. The Metro Code prohibits a wrecker company from entering into a transaction, the result of which would be the sale, assignment, mortgage, or otherwise transfer of a wrecker permit or emergency wrecker zone. Metro Legal investigated this transaction and determined the following. Mr. Mitchell's remaining ownership interest, quote, afford him no voting rights, no rights to profit, dividends, or distributions, nor rights to any payments on dissolution of the business. Instead, Guardian has full control of its operations and reaps all of its profits. There's no information to support a finding that Mr. Mitchell is entitled to a share of the profits or losses of the company. The Metro Code provisions require the Commission to look beyond the name that the parties have given the transaction. This is not a partnership, it is a transfer of the permits. The Commission now has all the information in front of it, and we submit that the request from Guardian in West Nashville should be denied. It's currently reflected on your agenda as a request to add officers. But as the Commission knows, there's never been the adding of a partner for West Nashville approved by this Commission. Finally, we'll leave you with this question. How will the Commission address future attempts to acquire 100% equity of a company if it approves this request? Thank you very much.
The next person on my list is John, is it Kunze? Kunze?
Hello, I'm John Kuntz. Good now? Thank you. This is in reference to the consent item involving West Nashville Wrecker and Dad's Towing. What is the point in having policies and procedures if a select person and company does not have to follow them? Today, 10 months after Guardian and their partners purchased West Nashville Wrecker and Dad's Towing, they will finally attempt to be partially compliant with the policies and procedures that everyone else is forced to follow. The emergency wrecker zone licenses belong to Metro. You assign the license yearly to the owner of the various wrecker services who have a zone. It is the owner's signature that binds the agreement with Metro. None of these new owners live or work in the state of Tennessee, let alone Nashville. They live in South Florida and New York City. We already know Jimmy Mitchell has no ownership in either company. Who owns West Nashville Wrecker and Dad's Towing? Guardian has already admitted that there are multiple owners involved in their business. Who are they? Guardian has essentially mocked this commission's regulation by having Jimmy Mitchell stand in front of you with no control, no investment, no employment, and no authority, trying to deceive you into believing they did not outright buy West Nashville Wrecker and Dad's Towing. That's all.
Thank you. Next on the list is Emily Lamb.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Emily Lamb here from Winstead PC. I was not planning to speak today. I was planning to come and just watch the meeting and see how everything went through. But in the interest of preserving, I guess, arguments, I would like to say this matter is on the consent agenda because of a clerical error that was made by NDOT a year or so ago, which Mr. Rooker, I believe, will speak to. And again, I wasn't planning on speaking today, but when I heard that there was opposition, the same opposition that has been before you several times on the same matter, I felt like I needed to remind you, nothing new was said today that has not been previously said to this board on more than one occasion. Their claims are collaterally stopped under the doctrine of claim preclusion. To the extent that this board believes that this is an extension of the same, that this is not an extension of the same claims that this board previously heard and ruled on involving the same parties on the same matter, then the matter should still proceed under the consent without a hearing because the issue was determined at a prior hearing. So therefore, any rehearing is barred under the doctrine of issue preclusion. So this board, being quasi-judicial in nature, is bound by both doctrines of claim preclusion and issue preclusion. And so we would respectfully ask that you continue with this on the consent agenda. To the extent you need to discuss it among yourselves, again, we would just remind you that this is a clerical error that's being remedied and that the matter has been heard and litigated extensively, and you have ruled on it already. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lamb. All right, that completes the list of people who've signed up to speak during the public hearing. We'll close the public comment period and go on to approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes from the December 11th, 2025 meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Director Rooker, do we have items that we need to discuss at the beginning of the meeting for deferral?
No, Chair, we do not.
All right.
This month.
And I'm going to then launch into the consent items. Do you want to take the first ones?
Yes, sir.
Before we go there, I do want to remind everybody, as was pointed out either the December meeting or the November meeting, that Robert's Rules of Court says that if an item is on the consent agenda, there's not to be any discussion about it. It's either a thumbs up or a thumbs down vote by us. Of course, Director Rooker will advise us as to what the nature of the item on the consent or the consent item on the agenda is. However, that does not preclude anyone who wants to have discussions about something to take it off the consent agenda, and then we either set it for a hearing or for discussion at another meeting, or we can pursue it with under other business in this meeting. I hope I made myself clear, but what I'm saying is this does not preclude anyone who wants to take something off the agenda. For instance, any discussions regarding wrecker and towing services, names changes, or modifying ownership, take it off the consent agenda and we can pursue discussions on it then. Have I stated that correctly?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And you can determine at that point, if something is taken off consent, the committee can vote when they would like to hear it on the agenda.
Sounds good. All right, Director Rooker, you want to take some of the first ones regarding the OPVHs?
Yes, sir. Just so the commission knows, my allergies are kicked in 100%. So if I'm not sick, so I feel fine. But if I start to switch off the meeting over to TD, you'll understand why I'm doing that. So I just wanted to make that announcement first. Other passenger vehicles for hire, new company applications, all the paperwork is in order and staff would recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll do it. I make a motion to approve the other passenger vehicles for hire new company applications for A1 Nashville Luxury Car Service, Nash Go Transportation, Music City Premier Rides, Salmon Transportation LLC, Punya Rideshare, Ya Luxury Transportation LLC, and Nashville Black Crown Ride.
I'll second. Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Motion carries. Director Rooker, we're going to the OPVH request to change name.
Yes, sir. Ricky Duke to my Nashville driver. Paperwork is in order. Staff recommends approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the OPVH request to change the name from Ricky Duke to my Nashville driver.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Director Rooker, OPVH request to modify ownership.
Yes, sir. Same thing here. We just have a ownership change. Sunny Transportation, I will let y'all read it into the motion. All the paperwork is in order. Staff recommends approval.
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve that I make a motion to approve the request, OPVH request to modify ownership for Sunny Transportation and Limo Service to add Paulina Iabua.
Second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'm opposed. I don't know what modify ownership means anymore.
All right. TD, did you get that? Thank you. All right, Director, the motion does carry. All right, the OPVH request to change address now, Director Rooker.
Yes, sir. Anytime an address change or a change to the application comes before us, it has to be approved by this commission. All the paperwork is in order for this item, and staff recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve an address change for Victory Ground LLC to 3736 Dickerson Pike. And are we approving both? My driver as well?
Yes.
My Nashville driver to 4000 Hillsborough Pike, apartment 1309.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Moving on to the next page of the agenda, Director Rooker, we're now on the taxi cab request to change address.
Yes, sir. Regal Cab is asked to change the face of the application, and they have a new address. Staff has looked at the paperwork. It's all in order, and we would recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the taxi cab request to change address for Regal Taxi to 325 Plus Park Boulevard, Suite 101A.
Second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Going down to the next one, Director Rooker, Wrecker and Towing Service request to change name.
Yes, sir. Titan Towing, Inc., changing to Titan Towing LLC. All paperwork is in order, and staff recommends approval.
Do we have a motion from the commissioners?
Make a motion to approve Titan Towing, Inc. to Titan Towing LLC.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Motion does carry, though. Then, Director Rooker, the Wrecker and Towing Services request to modify ownership. Should we take these individually, or do you want to group them together?
We can group them together. This is clearing up a clerical error that was made by the Transportation Licensing Commission's office staff. When the paperwork was filed, it was filed for both companies, but it only came in front of you as Dad's Towing. It was inadvertently left off West Nashville Wrecker. You've already ruled on the investigation, so that's why we're putting it. We didn't want to put it on before the investigation, because if you found a different avenue came out of that, then we'd be in a whole different ballgame. But now, since you've ruled and you've made your ruling, we would like to ask that both of these companies be added to the application.
And this clerical error we're talking about was not the last meeting, but actually last year's meeting.
Last year, when all the paperwork was done, when they have to file their annual hearing paperwork.
It was in November 2024.
Yeah,
So this is just to correct the clerical error.
that's all it's on here for, yes, ma'am.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the record and towing services request to modify ownership for West Nashville Wrecker and Dad's Towing. Do I need to list the officers?
I think it's a good practice.
For West Nashville Wrecker LLC to add Scotty Crockett, Michael Sheen, Deepak, forgive me. CT,
Spell it out.
SETHI, and Rocky Gunter as officers under Dad's Towing Services, Inc., to add Michael Sheen, Deepak, SETHI, Rocky Gunter as officers.
It's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Opposed.
And one opposition. And that closes the consent agenda, correct, Director Orser?
That is correct, Chair.
There was a question about you had a question about one of these items?
Oh,
As to what something
Yeah,
means,
so
modify ownership?
I have a question currently with Metro Legal regarding what this commission is allowed to ask for when ownership modification requests are made. And until I have a clear answer on that, I don't feel comfortable voting in favor of modified ownership.
Would you like an opportunity to either help enlighten us today or maybe at the next meeting?
This is something we're still looking into, and we'll get back to you at a later time.
All right, thank you. All right, now we're coming up to the public hearing regarding the MTLC Rules and Procedures, Section 100 and 104. I'm going to open the public hearing, and I'm going to start it with asking Director Rooker to enlighten us.
Yes, sir. Section 100 is, of your rules is where the meetings are held and what time they're held. Since that has changed, we need to change the rule to the time and the place that we are meeting. So this is just cleanup because of the change of the location of the meeting and the time and the date.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm assuming that since our language already had unless an alternative date and time is determined, that our decision to meet today was acceptable under the old rules, and this is just setting it clear from now on.
Just setting it clear from now on, just cleaning up the rule.
I go ahead with for Section 104 accommodations.
You want to do them both, or you want to do one at a time?
We'll take one at a time.
Okay, but let's do 100 and
All right,
then.
does anybody from the public want to speak as to the rules change for Section 100 regarding setting our meetings for the third Tuesday of each month unless an alternative date and time is determined? Seeing no one wants to speak, I will close the public hearing on the consideration of revisions to Section 100 meetings. Any discussion? Motion?
And I say with the most respect that I possibly can, that I think that we don't need the change because it says unless an alternative date and time is determined. I know that when we were looking for locations to hold, that the Tuesday was a better day for a location space. When I committed to my service on this commission, I did so with knowing that I needed to participate as much as my schedule could allow, and Tuesdays are really, really tough for a portion of the year for me. So I would hope that as we look at the next year, we would not necessarily look at Tuesday again. And this is a very selfish request, but again, that was part of when I agreed to my service on the commission, that was with the schedule of it being on a Thursday afternoon, which is something I know I could, for the most part, do every Thursday each month. And I know that there will be a couple months coming up where I know I can on a Tuesday. So that's I don't know that we need the change because it already contemplates that there might be a different date. But I'm happy to go with the flow here, but everyone knows.
We'll continue to look for alternatives as to times. I think there would have to be something open up out here for us to, because it stays pretty busy. So this was the only time available, but we'll continue to look.
Yeah, I'll just add, I'm completely understanding the situation. It is so hard to find a time when everyone can get together. And just for the sake of the rules, if this is going to be your default for, the next year or so, I do recommend changing it just so that the public is on notice as this will be your default time. Otherwise, people might get confused. And of course, you can always revisit this issue and change it again.
That's a very good point.
And just to make sure I heard you say time, but I'm certain, Director, you meant time and day. You would keep
Time and day, yes, ma'am. Place, time, date, all of the above.
I forgot to push my button. Any further discussion?
Just to say, I also prefer the Thursday, just to jump on your bandwagon, but I understand that space is limited, and so I would also be open to changing it back to Thursdays next year.
Thursdays is better for us too, so just so commission knows, we're used to Thursdays. It gives us the, 4 days to get prepared, and now we have the weekend and then only Monday, and it's kind of thrown us in a loop too. So we'll continue to look for alternatives.
One thought I have is that often a Monday or a Friday is a holiday with the weekend. And I was just thinking about, in seeing some of the emails that came out from the director and Mr. Sheffley, they were pointing out that they're not going to be in the office on Monday. And so Tuesday is a kind of a inconvenient day. For you,
We agree.
especially for the staff, for the administration. Yeah.
Yes, sir, it is. It's
As well
tough
as
on
for
us.
commissioners. So.
Well, I do agree that it's important for the public to know when the default date is. So as long as it's, if we can look at this again next year and try to see if there's a possibility, and we can change it back to whatever date is, that'd be great. I'm on board.
I'm on another commission and we meet at 5 p.m. And I think the planning commission does something similarly. That's probably not any more popular, but that might be a possibility to meet later.
If the commission decided they wanted to have, evening meetings, it's definitely something that's on the board, and that will for sure give us more wiggle room as to time, place, and day that we can do it. TD?
Well, I was thinking about happy hour.
TD, go ahead.
I would just remind the commission of the 5 and 6 and 8 hour meetings we have had as a group, so 5 p.m. might be a late start.
Planning commission does it.
I'd like to make a motion to amend section 100 of the MTLC Rules and Procedures to replace the fourth Thursday with the third Tuesday of each month.
I'll second.
All those in favor for amending section 100 meetings, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we'll try to keep the motivation or impetus for looking at how to get back on a Thursday schedule. All right. Director Rooker, we're now on to, I'm going to open the public hearing for consideration of section 104. And Director Rooker, if you'd enlighten us to the name change or the changes in that section.
We're going to let TD handle this rule change.
Thank you, Director Rooker. Rule 104 in your rules previously directed an individual to contact commission staff when requesting accommodations to attend a TLC meeting. We have some updated guidance, which now appears on the front of your agenda. You can reach out through Hub Nashville, and there's a dedicated number there as well to request accommodations. So we just want to share that information in our rules and update it for anyone seeking accommodations to attend a TLC meeting.
Does anyone in the public want to speak as to the proposed revision to section 104 accommodations? I have a question. Are we sure that if they go through Hub Nashville, that that our group will find out that accommodations that need to be made?
This language has been suggested, I believe, through Metro Legal to be added to the agenda for all the commissions and through Metro Council as well. So this is the process across Metro now for boards and commissions.
I understand they want to be consistent. My question, though, goes, right now, it says they'll contact the TLC staff, and they give a specific phone number. And I know that you guys are that you answer your phone call and you're responsive to it. My question is, are we sure that if they call the 862-5000 or go to Hub Nashville, that a message will get to the staff for the accommodation that needs to be made?
Hub Nashville is, everything that goes into Hub Nashville is assigned to somewhere and somebody. So like TD and I get scooter, requests all the time, move the scooter from where it is. So if it's assigned to us through the hub, it will come to us and the staff as well. And we'll make sure that happens.
I have a lot of confidence in the staff. I don't know if I have as much confidence about the website. And I do know what 862-5000 is like when you call that number.
I was just going to ask a question about where that rings and what happens.
What I have experienced is it goes to a voicemail operator who helps direct your phone call to somewhere.
Oh.
So that's a general number for Metro.
Yes, sir, it is.
5,000.
I'll
You're on the switchboard. is what I'm
defer
trying to say.
to legal on this, but I mean, you could offer both, like the phone number and the hub request, TD.
If our staff today were to receive an accommodation request, we would then direct the requester to enter it into Hub Nashville, which has been described to us as the current process Metro-wide. So that might be chasing a circle.
Yeah, we'll let legal answer too.
And I think this language is recommended Metro-wide precisely because we want to be able, for there to be a record. And what's useful about Hub Nashville is that it keeps a record of all these requests because we want to make sure that we're logging them and accommodating them and accounting for them. And so once these are received, it's entered into the system and everyone is sort of on notice that this accommodation needs to be made.
That's assuming they have access to internet and the ability to enter something into Hub Nashville.
And there's a phone number supplied here as well.
Yeah, and I think that would be my point. There's a pretty significant digital divide in the disability community, frankly, sadly. So I would just want to be really sure that the phone number they call is going to be responsive, because not everyone has access to the internet.
Is there not a direct phone number for Hub Nashville?
I don't actually have that information. This is, to the best of my knowledge, the most appropriate number to call.
Okay,
Is that what the 311 number is?
that's what I was
I
thinking.
think I've called it before.
Could we not add that? Because that would, a hub operator would answer and then could enter the information into the system. I hate for us to be different than the rest of Metro government, but it seems like whenever perhaps I enter complaints on the hub app, it always had that option of calling. Excuse me.
I mean, these seem more along the lines of technical questions that we would have to, speak to.
We would have to get
ITS.
ITS involved and see what's available.
I just wouldn't want anything coming in here, any request getting going in on a different path than what's been advised for all the other boards and commissions. So we'd have to double check on that.
And if the commission would like those answers, we can for sure get them, and you can always defer this until February or whatever you're comfortable doing.
Where is this requested change to the rule coming from? I heard it's been recommended by Metro Legal. Do we know where the source, is it the mayor's office, the council, or some agency within
I
Metro?
would think it would be recommended generally just to be able to ensure all departments to analyze how the accommodations are being made, making sure that they're being consistent.
To direct everyone's attention up here, where it does say 311 or 615-862-5000, which seems like we would not be going against any language that's already on a Metro site. I would also be in agreement to add 311, because that's a more direct way to hub, in my experience.
It might even be a suggestion that they do that for all the commissions. Rather than us being different, we might actually be helping to improve the.
We're right.
Well, that's why we have these discussions, to try to find the best way to enable someone to communicate their needs to be able to attend public hearings.
And 311 is much easier to remember as well.
Could someone enlighten me? What do you do? Just punch 311 on your phone, on your cell phone?
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea.
Judy, can you take us back to the language?
So do I hear that in order to know whether we can add the language of 311 to the proposed change here, does the director in Metro Legal need a little time to consult on this, or?
Probably a good idea, yes, sir.
So then your suggestion about maybe deferring this to the
Deferring.
next meeting?
If I want to be sure I'm giving you solid answers to your questions, and I don't have a solid answer for that particular question, so I would like for you to defer it, and let's get a list of what we need to find out, and then go get the proper answers.
And Ms. Mickelson, do I understand, though, we get to decide what we want our rule to say, right?
Yes, you absolutely can. I think our understanding was that you were asking us for information about like whether or not a call to 311 would go to the same place as the 615-862-5000, and I actually just don't know. So that's why we would want to ask, just to make sure. So if you want to defer it to get an answer to that question, we can go ahead and do,
And I think
look
the
into that for you.
main concern,
Yeah.
whether or not 311 goes directly to the other number, it goes to someone who could enter the information into Hub for that individual seeking the accommodation. Because I think we agreed that the 5,000 is a generic for across state government. 311 is specifically for Hub requests.
I'd like to make a motion to amend section 104, accommodations, to edit the last part of the second sentence to the transportation, could you move that up again, TD? To amend the language to the Transportation Licensing Commission staff by calling 615-862-6777, and change it to through Hub Nashville at the URL given, or by calling 311 or 615-862-5000. Requests should be made as soon as possible, but 72 hours prior to the scheduled meeting is recommended.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And if I didn't, I am closing the public hearing on the proposed revisions to section 104. All right, Director Rooker, taxi cabs. First thing on the agenda is about Dwayne Brown complaint.
Yes, sir. This is a gentleman, I believe, TD has talked with him several times. We did contact Volunteer Cab, and we did verify that the complaint was a legitimate complaint. Volunteer Cab then suspended the driver for a week, and they have also offered a full refund to this gentleman. Most of the time, we do not bring, if we can get those worked out to everyone's satisfaction, we don't bring every complaint we get in front of this commission. We try to work it out and to both parties' satisfaction. Mr. Brown is not satisfied. He would not accept the refund, so he just wouldn't take the refund, and he also wants this driver revoked and his permit revoked. So it wasn't satisfied to both parties with being happy with the recommendation. So we brought it before this commission, so because it's your rule that's being violated, to find out if you want to have a disciplinary hearing or if you think what's been done is enough at this point. So that's what we're asking. TD?
And to that, I would just add, Mr. Brown is a resident of the state of New York, so submitted an affidavit, but will not be attending in person with his complaint. As I reviewed it, it appeared to be a $35 flat rate charge for a ride that went from the downtown Nashville Broadway area across the river over to East Nashville, approximately 3 miles, 10 to 15-minute ride, depending on traffic. Approximately should have been about a $22 fare. It was charged $35. Again, Mr. Brown, as Director Rooker stated, was not satisfied with the week suspension of the driver that volunteer disciplined their driver with, and the offer of a full refund. So if we would like to continue with the disciplinary hearing on that, we'd like to hear that from the commission and set that disciplinary hearing with proper notice.
Mr. Chair,
And
can you?
let me interrupt. You don't have to ask for my permission to speak. Please feel free to speak up. And unless we've already got a motion to adjourn, so.
Can you quickly remind me, is there a general standard that we look at? I'm assuming, since you had worked this and offered it, that you felt that this was consistent with our practices?
It's consistent with our practices. A lot of the complaints that we get, we can't verify because we don't have the proper information from the complainant. And we just do not have, we don't have a cab number. We don't have a cab company. We don't have anything that we can verify. So when we verify them, we try to satisfy them to both parties' satisfaction. And if we can do that, and usually talk to the driver, say, you're supposed to run your meter, you're supposed to do all that. Because if we came in here with every complaint I have on a cab driver, that's all you guys would be doing. I promise you. So that being said, we try to get them all taken care of. If we have a party on either side that's not satisfied with what we have done, and he was not satisfied with what the company has also done, we want to bring it before you so you can decide whether or not you want to have a disciplinary hearing or not. We're satisfied with the discipline that the cab company gave, a week's suspension, and offered to pay full refund back to the gentleman. That would be something that along our lines would be satisfactory. But seeing as how this party's not happy and he wants the driver revoked, we brought it before the commission so you can decide. If you decide you want to have a hearing, then we'll notice it properly, and that hearing would be in February.
The one hearing that I remember participating in, there was also an issue of anger management and stuff, but this does not seem to be rising to that level of interaction between driver and customer.
TD's had a lot of communication on this one.
TD, I would also add, though, I remember in the complaint, it says that there appears to have been deception about what cab company Mr. you was driving for.
And we would have to have a hearing to determine whether or not that deception was intentional. A receipt was provided with the cab driver's former company listed. That could have been a mistake by the driver or intentional for reasons of deception, not sure. But the receipt indicated the driver's former company rather than its current company. So that is how that occurred.
And is his last name Bitu? Solomon Bitu?
Your pronunciation is good as mine. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Have there been complaints against Mr. Bitwu before?
I have
Do we know if this is the first complaint?
As far as I'm aware, the first verifiable
I never trust an
complaint.
answer like that.
The first verifiable complaint against this driver that we have on record. Yes, sir, since I've been here.
And to answer your initial question, what the cab company did may even be a little more extreme than what we might have done, other than offer the full refund and perhaps put the person on probation, or we probably wouldn't have suspended them for a whole week. But I can't sit here and say that we have a particular graduated standard that we go by. One of the big considerations is it the first time the person's been before us?
And I apologize, in here, does it say when he was first received his driver's
His permit?
taxi?
We would have that information for you if we held a disciplinary hearing. We did not include that in the packet
Oh, okay,
today.
that's fine.
Is there anyone from Volunteer Taxi here? Is it appropriate to call them and ask questions?
Sure.
Come on up. Is this,
I just want to
Yeah,
caution you that
yeah,
at this
we gotta
point,
notice.
there's really, if there's going to be a full hearing regarding
Then we
this
would do
matter,
that
it
there.
needs to be properly
Okay.
noticed.
my apologies.
Are you Mr. Bitwell? You?
He's from
Are you-
Volunteer Taxi.
Are you the driver? No, okay, thank you, sir.
I recall when we had a situation like this before with an overcharging, there was a refund, and then we had the driver issue an apology letter to the complainant. I don't know if that is a standard which we want to continue, but certainly I would be in favor of requesting something like that sent to the complainant.
I think in that case that there was a little more emotion involved because I think that was the one with the anger management also required.
And we did a hearing, yeah.
I'm going to remind the commission, you're borderline having a disciplinary hearing, so we would need to notice that and do it for February if you decide. What's in front of you today is to just decide whether or not you want to have a disciplinary hearing or whether or not the actions taken are enough for you as a commission.
I apologize if I appeared to be starting a hearing. I was just trying to make sure the consistency or if we know when we're likely to have.
Have a hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I make a motion?
And I just would point out, I think a lot of the questions go to the relevancy of whether to have a hearing or not, so I encourage that.
I'd make a motion, we hold a hearing at the next commission meeting on this issue.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
How many opposed? 3 opposed, and 1, 2, 3 in favor. Oh, good Lord.
Legal needs to
There's
address
four,
that.
there should
Or
be
isn't it
four.
4 in
Did
favor?
one vote?
Wait, well, I'm sorry, yeah.
There's 7 of us.
Okay, so which way was it? 4, 3, and hold a hearing, okay. I'm off the hook. I have a question evidentiary-wise. I don't know that Mr. Brown will necessarily travel from New York to be for that hearing, which is kind of fundamentally essential, but he submitted an affidavit. I'd like to know before the hearing next time whether an affidavit is sufficient for evidence of the, prima facie evidence of the complaint, and whether this board can even make a decision based upon an affidavit alone.
I'll look into that issue and get back to you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Director Rooker, action on untimely application filed by existing company WHCTN doing business as Z-Trip requesting 25 cabs or
Yes, sir.
additional permits.
This would be a decision you would need to make before the public hearing. Their application was not timely filed. They filed it 23 days late. So since it's not in the ordinance, that is your rule, setting that time, setting the deadline for that. It's a commission rule, not an ordinance issue. So with it being late, all the paperwork is in order. I will say Z-Trip is one of a few cab companies that we have that help our disability community, and they do a really good job at that. So it's before you today to see if you want to, overlook the deadline, that's your rule, and go on and have them in a hearing, or whether or not the deadline being missed would make them again go to next year before they could reapply.
So it's a question of whether we're going to waive the filing deadline for Z-Trip.
Yes, sir.
And then add them to the public hearing on their request for 25 additional permits.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And to clarify, a yes vote on this does not give them 25 additional permits.
No, we're asking you if you want to waive your rule of the deadline.
Thank you.
Question, have we waived the timeframe previously? And did the company give any explanation for the delay?
believe, one of them, maybe the person that was gonna file it had a medical problem at the time. I can't speak to, I don't think we've ever waived a deadline since I've been here. I can't speak
We
to, before I was here.
Military, we had a gentleman that was applying for PBOH, I believe it was, and he was serving in the military.
Okay.
And, yeah, you too.
It wasn't anything.
And he couldn't be here because he was serving. And so when he came back, we did waive that for him. But other than that particular one, I cannot think of another.
Does this impact their existing permits in any way?
No,
This
ma'am.
is just regarding
This
a
is-
late request for
This
additional
is just a
permits.
request for them to be heard and have a hearing on the 25, I believe they want to add, and whether or not you're going to waive the deadline to allow them to have that hearing.
And if we don't waive it, what happens
They would have to reapply again next year
for the additional?
and hit the timeline correctly for the additional 25.
Do they have permits as
Yes.
we speak, other than these additional 25?
Yes,
So
sir.
this would just be adding to their fleet. These 25 are not in service.
They're not in service at this time. They're asking you to put them in service. But they do have vehicles in Nashville.
And I guess one other question, when we look at the need for additional cabs, do we have information on the ability of the existing permit holders to meet the needs of persons with disabilities?
Prior to this meeting, in advance of the annual hearing, we did audit the current taxi cab fleet on the number of wheelchair accessibility vehicles available. So there are 28 out there in a fleet of 527 total taxi cabs. 28 are wheelchair accessible.
Are any of the applications before us that we will have at the hearing? Or do we know if specifically they can address that need?
They would have to speak to their application during the annual hearing.
Hearing.
I know there are representatives of Z-Trip available here today if you have questions for them on this agenda item.
TD, do I recall correctly that one of the considerations of the public convenience and necessity is handicap accessible cabs?
That is correct, Chair. That's in Rule 218.
And that's in regards to a consideration of whether to increase the number or not.
That's correct.
Chair, if I could make a motion, just move this along, I make a motion that we waive our rules to hear the application for additional taxi cabs from Z-Trip.
Is there a second?
A second.
I have another question. Sorry.
Yeah, further discussion, please.
Is there any, for staff, did the delay here impact your ability to prepare for today in a way that you feel like you're not able to, or that there's something lacking in the application for consideration?
Not really. It didn't affect us, our ability to prepare paperwork or anything of that nature.
So I have to say that I'm the person who's always really, really interested in expanding accessible transportation. And I'm aware that I don't think this body gives actual additional licenses specifically for accessible cabs, right? I mean, we're sort of relying on the cab companies to develop that accessibility. I would love to have something that says we have to do a certain percentage, but we don't, so that's okay. I just have to say out loud, though, because even though I think a lot of Z-Trip as a company and really appreciate their accessibility, that 23 days late seems like a lot. I mean, if we have a deadline, we have a deadline, right? And without, a military exemption, a good cause for some period of time, but I just wonder why it took that many days for them to get an application in.
You can always turn down the application. I mean, if you don't, I remember these folks from last year, that's why I made the motion.
Is it correct that they lost only a $20 fee in the renewal application? Because I understand that when they apply, they have to, is it the same as for the other ones where they have to repay for the application fee?
I'm going to let office staff answer that question.
Can you hear me, Commissioner?
Yes.
What particular are you talking about?
I'm just asking if they, when they applied, if they are going to lose their application fee for renewal, if they need to apply again, which is, I think, the case with other.
Yes, ma'am.
This is
unfortunately.
nuance, but I thought Z-Trip already had some.
They have some, but this is for an application for additional
Additional.
permits.
All right,
Yes.
excuse me, I take that back.
I'm assuming there's no financial consequences to for Z-Trip because of their delay or their failure to meet the deadline.
They paid just as everyone else did that met the deadline. Unfortunately, that fee is non-refundable.
Okay. Is there further discussion? All right, there's a motion on the table. There's been a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'd
Motion-
like to make a comment real quick.
Oh, hold on. Motion carries. Comment.
Just in the past, just adding some past history, the cab company or companies here in Nashville, as far as ADA accessibility, we have always been lacking. We've never had enough. And with the cab company suffering because of ride share, it's only increased. I would think that anybody who was bringing ADA accessibility to the public, we would definitely need them. We've always been lacking in that area.
To that point, and Vice Chair Westlake's comment, can we, in our rules, require a certain number of ADA accessible cabs within the number of permits we give?
I need to do some research on that question and get back to you.
Okay.
And I'm going to give some vague, some comments of my own. I think that I remember, and Commissioner Rogers, Commissioner Carr, you may correct me, but I thought at times when we had rather aggressive applications for additional permits by cab companies, that the ones, we talked about how many were going to be vans, and we talked about, or we granted some on the condition that they had 2 or 3 additional ADA compliant vehicles. Trying to articulate, I think we have in the past said you can have 10 more permits as long as 2 of them are ADA compliant. And
Not as a requirement, more as a carrot.
well, but it was, you were going to get your 10 if you put at least 2 on the street.
That's what I remember, yes.
Now,
I think it wasn't enforceable, but
Right.
is what Freddie's saying.
It was,
That
we will if you-
they said they would do that, and we said, okay, then we'll give you 10 permits. But there
Okay.
would not be an enforcement action taken if they
they better not come back
backed
again.
out. Yeah, but they better not come back
Yeah.
again. There you go.
So, anyway, so I think we have a history of having negotiated additional permits based upon the number of ADA compliant vehicles that were promised to be put on the street. That's a fair way of saying it.
And for persons in the future looking at the discussion, I think if they would take from our comments that the waiver of the time frame was based off of our perceived need for additional, to be able to consider that, and not that we just suddenly have decided that anybody can be late with their filing.
Good point. I'm going to ask if we can take a 5 or 10-minute break before we launch into the next agenda, which is the annual hearing for purposes of consideration of applications for public convenience and necessity of additional permits. Does anybody have any opposition to that? Thank you.
Yes, sir. You would need to open the public hearing, and we'll have our annual hearing for additional cab drivers.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing on the annual hearing for the purpose of consideration of applications for additional taxi cab permits. Director Urquhart, you want to go ahead and kick us off a little bit about where we are and what we're doing, and who's made applications?
Yeah, yes, sir. Existing company Regal Taxi LLC requested 52 additional permits. Existing company Tennessee National LLC requesting 20 additional permits. Also, just so you know, before we go through, after the public hearing, I'll have some statistical information for the commission, just about how our last year's been, complaints, and how things are going. With these, these two companies additional, and then you'll have Z-Trip that is requesting 25. They're now added to the annual hearing list. So with that, I'm ready for the public hearing.
So we've got requests for roughly 97, if I add correctly,
Yes,
additional
sir.
permits.
Yes. And the first thing the commission has to do is find that there is a need for additional cabs. So that finding has to be done after the public hearing.
Correct. We first determine whether there's a need for additional cabs. We set a number, and then we just make a decision about how to apportion those.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a particular company you want to start with?
We'll just go down the list as to, I think first of all, we need to have the public hearing, and then we'll go through and ask, Regal will be first, Tennessee National will be second, and then Z-Trip will be last.
Regal first, Tennessee National second, and Z-Trip third, okay. All right, is there anybody that wants to speak as to the annual hearing for additional taxi permits? If you want to come forward and introduce yourself, and I'm not going to set a particular time limit, but I ask you to be prudent with your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hassan. I'm owner of Checker Cab in Music City. I've been in business since 2015. And also in 1999, I started driving cab for 9 years till 2009. When I started driving cab in 1999, I started my first year. And we call them leak, which is the company fee, company lease. And during that time in 1999, we was paying $100 and $125 a week. So from 1999 and now is a huge difference. And about financial and rent, cars, insurance, gas. We're talking about 50 different bills and increase in numbers of those financial. So the capacity and the population in Tennessee is crazy going up. If you look at west side, yes, we need more cabs. But if you look at the other side, and I don't think we need more permit. It will be question right here. And we had 800 population in Nashville. Now we're almost 2.5. So 1999, we was paying $120, $125 lease. And now we charging drivers $100, $75 a week. So I have a question right here in this new company, which I have a respect for them. And they charge a $30 lease every week. I don't know how they survive. To have 24-hour dispatch, to have a commercial building, to have a software with this technology. I'm sorry, I just shame and respect to you guys. I'm here every year to, discussing about we not need no more permits. I have 150 permits, and I've got 45 or 48 permit still empty sitting, and I've been paying every quarterly fee, and I'm trying to, and I'm hoping to fill up those permits. And every company, which we talk, we have meeting, we get them together. between 5 companies, we got over 125 empty permit. We hoping one day we're gonna fill up those permit. I'm asking TLC every month, how many new drivers they getting them? Not the extension company to company. How many new drivers they getting them? And how many drivers changing company to company? If we get 50, 60 drivers, new ones coming in, apply for new permit, and I believe we need more permit. But if we get 2 or 3 new drivers every month, I don't think we need more permit. So I've got a little proposal, and we're struggling with $100 bill today. We charging our driver fees. We barely making them. Sometimes we pay from our pockets. And those company, I'm not trying to be against, but they charging $30, and they targeting our drivers at the airport. Hey, come to us, I will charge you $30 a week. And my drivers, they're struggling to make money. And those people, I don't know how they making to live with $30 to run the company. I've got a little proposal, if you don't mind, I can share with you guys.
Mr. Hassan, while he's handing that out, I take it from your comments, you're opposed to additional permits being issued?
I don't think it's
Just
good.
yes or no?
No, sir. We don't
No.
need no more additional permit on the city. I mean, absolutely not.
Okay, that's all, that was my only question.
Thank
Could I
you,
ask
sir.
a question?
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Are you, sit down. Are you in competition with Uber and Lyft? Or is the whole taxi industry in competition with Uber and Lyft?
It's affecting us a lot.
But it's your competition,
Yes.
essentially. And they have unlimited permits because they don't need any permits, correct?
We don't need a more permit. I mean,
No. Uber and Lyft. Is there any limit on how many people they can have driving for them?
no,
None.
none. Yep. So, I mean, you guys see, I mean, we hit every year, and we're hoping to fill up our permits. I mean, TLC can show up, can tell you guys the right number, how many new drivers coming in from outside to be sharing with a taxi cab. So I don't think it's a good idea. We need a more permit today.
I have a
Thank you.
question. You said you have 48 additional permits that you haven't
No,
used
I
yet?
have 48 empty permits and
Empty.
sitting, and I'm hoping to fill up.
Mr. Hassan, if you'll listen to his question, I think that's exactly what he was asking you.
Yes,
And how long have you had them?
I have them almost 2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
So you waited 2 years to fill up
To fill up,
48
yes, sir.
permits? Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Now, I have another question for you. You're on the hot seat today, but
I'm sorry.
you made a comment that of 5 companies, there's 125 empty permits, meaning you don't have drivers to fill those permits. Is that,
Absolutely,
do I
yes.
understand that correctly?
That's correct, yes.
All right. What's the source of that information? I mean, where did you ascertain 125 empty permits by the other companies and yourself?
Last couple of weeks, we had a meeting together.
And when you say we, who's we?
Yellow Cap, Magic, Tank Cap, and Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, between those 5 companies, actually I have 2 cab companies, Checker Cap and Music City.
Okay.
Both of them, I've got 150 permit total. I've got 48 permits from both companies is sitting, and we've been paying for it, and we're keeping it, and we're keeping to pay for it. We're hoping one day we're gonna fill up those permits.
And is that because and when you say we hope someday to fill those permits, is that because you don't have enough drivers or because there's not enough people calling in requesting cabs?
We don't have enough drivers.
All right, so the problem is drivers, not necessarily business.
No, yes, sir, correct.
Okay.
And,
If I could ask, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and you're saying that that one of the reasons you don't have enough drivers is because they're being poached with lower rates by other companies?
Yes. I mean, we here today, we against each other. I'm straight honest with you guys. If y'all lower my lease tomorrow to $25, I'll probably get half of their drivers. But how am I gonna survive with $25 lease? I have 10 employees at the office. I have a software, I have a building, insurance, which is, my financial is almost $30 a month.
I
So
understand.
if I go $30, how am I gonna cover
So
all this?
you're saying that there are 5 companies that, and do all 5 companies charge between 75 and 125 a week?
That's correct.
And then who are the companies charging $30 a week?
They people asking for more additional permit.
All 3 of these companies?
2 of them. And also I've got my 2 drivers.
What are the names
Yeah,
of the
what are
two
the names of the
companies?
companies?
I should have bring my drivers here. This gentleman right here at the airport,
Hassan, can you tell us the names of the companies?
Regal and National Cap.
I guess my drawback here is that this list of drivers, these requests, these are actual cars, these are actual people who immediately want to work. They have these vehicles, they have these cars, they want to go out as taxi drivers. These are not permits that will be sitting. These are cars with people that want to work. And unfortunately, more companies create competition, and that's healthy for the economy, that's healthy for Nashville patrons. To not grant them because they don't have them would be a disservice to these people, because these are people that want to work and get out and service Nashville and not necessarily want to work for Ms. Hassan or one of these other companies. And while that does benefit, and I appreciate your long service to Nashville, but we shouldn't leverage that, in my opinion, we should not leverage that against these people who've invested in cars and want to work. They just don't want to work for these particular agencies.
What are you referring to? What document are you referring to?
The ones right there.
If you look at this vehicle report, this vehicle report is a direct correlation to the permits that they're requesting. These are actual cars and actual people who are going to be driving these cars. It's not just a number.
And we don't know if these are changing from another company or if they're new drivers.
We don't, and in my opinion, I mean, it shouldn't matter.
Well, it does.
I mean, because, the Uber market is gonna be what it's gonna be.
Can I make a suggestion here that we save the deliberations and the comments among the commissioners?
Right.
Until we close the public hearing,
Gotcha.
because this
Sorry.
is the opportunity for the public to address us. Mr. Hassan, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time.
Who else would like to speak from the public regarding the applications for the 3 companies? Or regarding any, well, actually, I should say, let's talk about is there a need for additional taxi permits in Nashville, Tennessee, or Davidson County?
My name is Abdirsaq.
Well, sit down before you start talking so we can hear you. Okay. Another handout. Sorry to interrupt you.
Be sure that mic is turned on too, please, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Abdirsaq Diriye, 10 cab.
10 cab?
Yes, 10 cab.
Okay.
Thank you for the dear chairman and honorable commission members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So, I'm against it to add the new spot additional numbers, because the last year, 2024, also that time I come in to make the consent for that, the time to put in the additional spot and also the new company. That time, the 10 cab, I have 42 cars walking on the road, and total spot we have is 50, because the corona, he affected us and we retired the spot, but we used to have 85. At the time you give to the approval for that new additional spots and new company, the cabs left me, it is 26. 26 that now is remain and 16 left. So until now, we are struggling. We have 26 cars on the road for 10 cab. And total is 50. So that is because to us because we don't have any new drivers coming. We try to hiring the new drivers. We shopping around. Up to now, we don't get the drivers. And also our lease, it is not that expensive. It is $80. And we can't afford it, the rent, employee, office rent, all those, the stuff we have to pay that expenses. So please, we requested the city at the moment, we don't need the additional permits because the drivers, I'm sure, the time you approve, they go to another driver, they join into that company. We don't have any new drivers coming at the moment. So that's why the issue we have.
If I want to make a choice for driving for you or driving for Uber and Lyft, why should I choose you?
The Uber and Lyft and the taxi, it is completely, we are struggling with that, but
They're your competition. So
we
why
have
should I choose you to drive for you instead of Uber or Lyft?
Because as we work in the city, we are under regulate the TLC, but the Uber, it is not.
I understand that. But you're in competition with them, both for
Yes.
drivers and for business, correct?
Yes.
Is there something we're doing that keeps you from competing with them?
Yes.
What are we doing?
We need to do into to get a driver is to make advertisement to how we can work with the taxi and get, because we used to have by the corona, the 10 cab, we have 85 cars on the road and the drivers is 78 drivers. So now still the drivers, they didn't coming back to the business. So that's why it damaged to us, so that we can make it the competition with inside the taxi industry.
Your competition is Uber and Lyft. That's why I'm
Yes.
asking. You didn't answer the question. Why should I choose driving for you over Uber or Lyft? And obviously, a lot of people are choosing that, aren't they?
And you're saying it as if you were seeking employment.
Yeah.
You're not speaking as if you were seeking a ride as a passenger.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If I want to decide, like one of my neighbors, several of my neighbors, they drive for Uber and Lyft. They chose to do that rather than come work for you. Why did they make that choice?
They make the choice, as I get the how I understand, because the taxi is a better service for the city, and we have a lot of experienced drivers, the drivers we have.
That's not my question. Uber and Lyft are eating your lunch. What are you doing to compete?
Okay, that is, we don't have that software at the moment because we don't have that budget.
Why not?
Because we don't have that budget. That's why we try to get that software to do it, but we can't afford it. That's why we complain about now. We don't have that budget.
Well, the marketplace is sending you a message.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the public wants to speak about the necessity for or opposed to additional cabs in Davidson County?
Hello, everyone. My name is Davidson on behalf of Nash Vegas Cap. I'm trying to speak on behalf of Nash Vegas. I oppose this extra permits because I believe in a free market, but the way we in a taxi companies is like, it's not a healthy market because we have a lot of extra permits. We caught leaks. We try to different options, but the driver is gone because the business is not there. So we try to different options for drivers, the leak, the some free days, everything. Also for ADA is free leak because ADA is more, it's need to the company, to the city. Still we do that. Our expenses is gonna be high because dispatch system, rent. But those unhealthy companies, $30. Our company pay for the smart ICAV drive $30 per car. So what I'm saying, I believe on a free market, but what I'm saying, all rules must be applied to all companies. I believe that. My drivers, they leave me, why? Oh, just put it $30. Other companies gonna be, why you open office? Why you have dispatcher? Just leave it and it go $30, $20. I cannot do that. I have to apply the rules of TLC. So my expense is gonna be $30. I cannot do that. The only dispatching system is gonna be $30 per car. They charge me. So what I'm saying, I believe on the free market, but those not healthy companies try to get our drivers with senseless. So some drivers, when they ask them to try apply, oh, your sticker is gonna be off, just go. Your bumper is broken, go. Oh, why you tell me that? Then they leave, they go to other companies. Nowadays, we cannot apply TLC rules and the regulations on drivers because every company, they're afraid to leave the company. Because, oh, I'm gonna go. He went to $30 to other company. So we had obligation at the company to apply the TLC rules. So I don't deal with drivers. If it's somebody a broken bumper, you have to fix it. But nowadays, it's companies, they're afraid to force drivers to go sticker or do this, because other options with rule, they don't respect TLC rules and applies. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Please remember, we're wanting to hear any information that is relevant to whether there's a need for additional taxi cabs on the streets of Davidson County.
My name is DT with Magic Taxi. I believe that we don't need any additional permits or new permits. My fleet was 40 spots, active 27, empty 13, and because of there's no public demand and there's no driver demand because of the new companies or existing companies like 2 years now. Last 2024, there was a new company and an additional permit you guys issued. Since that, I lost 13 drivers. And some of them, they went to the Uber, and some of them, they went to the Regal and Tennessee National. And the list you, Mr. Carr, have is the list is some of is our drivers. So they promised to them to give $30, a lease to each week. If we reduce it for that to the $30, we cannot buy it or afford it or purchase a handicap cars or a smart meter or e-health app. We cannot do that because of there's no profit in there. At the same time, the new companies, they actually for the Tennessee National, I think it was 3 of them last year they went to it. When I asked them to why you went to the Tennessee National, why you want to go to another company, they says your expenses is high. You paying for everything, and we cannot afford that for the $80. So I cannot take to the court of like civil rights, a court, because of some of them are really, really good people, and some of them, they just wanted not take the rules and regulation for the TLC. I let the go because of when I told them you must take the rules and regulation TLC, they refuse it. They says no, I cannot. I rather go to a different company, which is not asking me, or they don't have a leadership to or control it. When sometimes I go to the downtown to check it, some drivers how they behavior. If I see one of my drivers, I call them and I give them training to tell him, please don't do that. It's not a good idea, and it's not, it's really a lot of public there. But the guy, I talk to that and I tell him that he left the other company because of my leadership. And the reason is one thing, he have a cheaper rate. The second thing is there's no leadership there. Tennessee National and also Regals. What I believe at this time is there's no need for to issue new numbers, new spots, at the same time new permits, and for the other Mr. Rogers, he mentioned for that what's the difference, why taxi drivers leave into Uber, because the Uber, they don't bend the car, they don't letter the car, and they don't have equipment in the car, so they can move around anytime they wish to it. And the car, most of the cars are from the rent. Unless taxi industry change the color to the no color, just everybody can move around any car they have. In that case, we will have more drivers. Uber have more than 3,000 drivers in the city, and all of them, they don't have a color. But we have a color, we have a letter, we have equipment, and we have a top light. There's one of my car, actually my fleet, the car is 2024. So we tell him we're gonna put the top light at the top. And he said, no, this car is almost brand new. And we told him, sorry, we have to put the top light in the roof. We make a hole. And now we did it because we convinced him we have to put the hole. For the Uber and left, they don't have to. And tomorrow he's going to use like regular car. And tonight he's going to use for the business car, a commercial car. So we have those problems, and these 2 companies requesting additional numbers is another problem. So we ask you guys not to approve additional permits for the new, existing companies because of we are really, really struggling. And maybe next August, I will return back 13 spots in between to TLC because I cannot afford it. If I move to the $25 or $30, I must move to the 25 because they already have $30 for the other companies. To 25, if I move to the $25 a week, I cannot buy ADA, I cannot smart meter because now we have one guy, last time when we was there, I think it was August, we bought a T-Mobile SIM card for the data to put meter and also the top light, not top light, forget that. Anyway, to put that to upload it for the software, for the meter software. When we have to make agreement, we realize or we get some people tell us 2 new companies are requesting additional numbers. So we have to hold it to that company to give us a app and a smart meter because of the expenses. We cannot afford it. And these companies, they will not do it. At the same time, being a taxi for the drivers affiliation, moving one company to second company, we need also rule for that. Maybe when he's going to change renew the permit, he also move the company he wants. Or maybe every 3 months, they have a period of time to move around the companies because of, if they moving around, we make agreement for other vendors to get equipment, and our equipment, if they take to the different company, like Regal last time, 5 of them, they took my equipment, and I had to wait them, and some of them, they didn't even pay me the airport fees. They just move on, and I cannot afford to go to the civil court. So there's so many problems, but I understand that problems, everybody have their own problem. But one thing I will ask you guys is, please do not issue new permits, additional permits. Please, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Rooker, we also are going to hear from the companies today, right?
Yes, sir, you will hear from the companies that have applied.
Okay, and that would be during the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to speak about the need or lack of need for additional permits for taxi cabs in Davidson County? All right, I think we'll take the first company, which is, did you say you wanted to go with first, Regal?
Regal, yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a representative from Regal?
Just real quick, Chair, just one of the things that part of you making the finding is the complaints is part of it. So we just wanted to, real quickly, in 2025, we had 91 Hub Nashville complaints on cab companies. This particular cab company, Regal, had 7 verified complaints that were taken care of. They were good to work with us to make sure that the outcome at the end was good, and it was. So Regal itself had 7 of those 91.
And I've always tried to distinguish between a complaint that's made on Hub Nashville versus one that your office has verified and actually took action on. So are we speaking about 7 complaints that were verified and appropriate measures were taken?
Yes, sir. 7 verified complaints that we worked with the company to resolve.
And that means the company then cooperated with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, they did.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Lewis?
Chairman,
And please remember, we're going towards a question of, is there a necessity for them? And then I guess you can also speak to why you feel your company should be getting, what is it, 52 permits?
52 additional
Okay.
permits, and I wanted to see how you wanted to proceed, Mr. Chairman. I was going to address some of the minimum standards in section 218 that deal with the issuance of additional permits.
To the public convenience and necessity?
This is minimum standards for certificates and permits that will be considered by the commission when reviewing applications for additional permits.
I'm not going to tell you how to present your case, so.
Well, I could do necessity first. Mr. Zaki, during the course of, you could sit down. I normally stand up when I'm talking to a court. I can sit down.
You can sit down. Yeah, but remember to turn your microphone on and make sure you're speaking towards it, please.
Yeah. Mr. Zaki, what areas of Nashville do you feel like are underserved and you get calls to that you're not able to service?
I have 22 cars. Normally they work at night time. All of them, they work at night time. And daytime, I don't have any car. And I have area like Antioch, I have Smyrna, Laverne, I have even Franklin, Brentwood, and I have West Nashville, Bellevue. I have a lot of area. They ask for taxi for my company because I have good driver, I have everything, I have good service. But I don't have any, I have almost every single day 20 calls, but I can't send anybody. And if we speak about can I ask
Sure.
something? About they talking about need cab or the need. They say we charge $125 a week. It means $500 a month. For 100 cab, it means make $50,000 a month. And he can't pay his rent. And he speak about $80. $80 in business very slow. $80 mean 360, 320 a month, not a week. Look for a month. The cab driver, of course, we're gonna make the cab die because we don't have too much competition with Uber, because we have less number of cab. If he speak about he can't pay his rent, your rent for office, my rent for office $400, and he has rent also 10 cab $400, and he charge $80. 80 mean 80 multiply 4, how much? What's the system you have? You have a system. You have dispatch only for 8 hours. Night time, you don't have a dispatch system. I mean, I don't think any company, I don't have any problem with any company, but you don't need, you think about 52 car. If you give me 100 car, I gonna fill it by next week. I gonna fill it by next week.
So Mr. Zaki, when you kept track of the number of calls that you were missing per day, did it average out to about 600 calls you were not able to
Yes.
service per
Yes.
month
Per
in
month.
the areas that you have just described?
Yes,
The
sir.
different sections of town?
Yes, sir.
Looking at the minimum standards for issuing new permits, does your company have a defined complaint resolution process?
Yes, sir. We have a system. We have a meeting every month.
Okay, no, complaint resolution process. If a customer complains,
Yes.
is there a way they can contact your company?
Yes, we have a sticker in my cab. All my cabs, they have a sticker. They say, any complaint, call this number. And always we solve the problem for the favor for the customer. Customer have right.
And what do you normally do if there's a complaint?
I always do return back all his money and apologize for him, and whatever he needed, we give him. Sometimes give him free ride for next time.
Okay. Do you currently have a dedicated office that y'all work from?
Yes, sir. We have 325 Plus Park Drive, 101A, the station.
Okay. How are your cabs dispatched now?
I have Mr. Romani, they dispatch my cab. He have good experience in dispatching my cab.
Does he now do it via his cell phone when your
Yes.
company gets a call?
Yes, right now, yeah. But we deal with, also we talk to a company for iCab company. They're gonna charge us for $30 per every car a month. We're gonna make a system for radio and stuff like this.
Okay. And you're going to put a dedicated, you're looking into putting, if you get these additional permits, you're looking into putting a dedicated dispatch system in.
Yes.
are you also looking to put in GPS monitors on
Yes,
each
sir.
car too?
Yes, sir.
Where they can be kept track of?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the commission what that cost would be approximately?
I have internet for $45, and I have the office for $400 a month. This a month, I have 400 office for 400, only 400, and I have $45 internet, and I have the ICAP company. They're gonna charge me $30 per each car. It mean I have 22. It mean like about you can multiply for 22 for 30, about 660. And I have the dispatch, the man he dispatches the system, he take around $700, $700 a week. It means $2,800. If you calculate it all, the calculation together, my expenses, it's like 3,800, something like this. It's not more than this. And I have 22 cars. I charge $45, not $30. I don't know how they get this number. I charge $45 each cab. If you 45 multiply by 4, it means 180 from each one. 180, if you calculate 180, almost 200 for 20, just 20 cab, how much?
And as it relates to your cabs and these cabs you will be adding on to your company, if the commission grants it, do you have a vehicle safety or inspection program? Could you describe to the board how that works?
Normally I make meeting for my driver. Every month I make meeting for my driver. Any driver, we check his car. Any driver, they have any problem, or we explain for him how is safety for the customer, courtesy for the customer, what they gonna do. I have every month meeting. Also, if I get the car, I gonna have wheelchair car, like about 3 or 4 car wheelchair car. You know, I gonna do this.
Okay, do you have any specific safety inspection program for your cab?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I have.
How frequently and what is done?
Right now, I have every 2 weeks, I check the car for any driver. Every 2 weeks, I have to check the cleanliness of the car, how the tail light, the fog light, whatever they have, the car have a dent or something like this. I always keep him, lie him for 1 week. My car, he's clean, very clean, have good customer service, stuff like this.
Okay. And in this safety inspection program, you look at headlights, signals, tires, look at everything as it relates to the safety of the car?
Yes, sir. I do it every 2 weeks.
Okay. What about a driver training program for additional taxi drivers?
Yeah. I have any driver come to my company, I give him 2 weeks, and I watch him. If not driving good or have any problem, I'm never hire him. Never, ever.
Is there a driver reward program in place too?
Yeah, I make it every month. If somebody, if anybody good in driving, his car clean, nice customer service with everybody, I give him a gift card for $100 a month. Always we make this a monthly meeting. I give him $100. They encourage the driver to can make. They do their best to can make everything is good.
And the 52 permits that you're requesting the board to grant, are their drivers currently ready to drive and go to work?
Yes, sir. Once I take it for just 1 week, 2 weeks, I get it.
Okay.
No more than that. I get it all.
If the board found it necessary, are you willing to add ADA accommodation cars that can accommodate ADA accommodation?
Yes, sir.
How many cars do you believe you could add?
I can add like three car right now.
3 cars that would be ADA accessible?
They will be, if I need more, I can add more. I don't have any problem. But until now, if we make reduction for the taxi company, keep number reduction, how about the Uber? They don't have any regulation. Yeah. How about the call? The Uber, they can.
We're not here about
Okay.
Uber. Okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
And again, you are telling this board here today that you are missing hundreds of calls for service a month because you do not have the
600 call,
cab
yes, sir.
to service them.
Yes, sir.
It would open up Mr. Zaki to any questions from board members.
How many cabs do you currently have, and how many of those are ADA compliant?
I have 22 cab right now,
And how many are ADA compliant?
but I don't have none of them right now.
It says here you have 2,
No, I gonna add 2 for the, when you add me.
so you don't have any right now.
No.
Are any of the drivers on this list currently driving for any of the companies that are behind you? So are any of these drivers on this list going to be a transfer from the companies behind you to your company?
I'm not sure about the driver, but I know that the driver, a majority of them is new.
Most of them are new?
I think that the majority of them is new.
Do you?
And also, if they change, because right now is business is low, they don't like you to pay like $500 a month, $500 a month. I pay him for, of course, they're gonna rotate.
Yeah, I wasn't concerned with the amount that they have to pay. I'm just wondering how many of this list
Really, I'm not-
that you've provided are actually currently driving for another taxi company or are actually new
I don't know.
drivers?
I don't know really.
So how do you recruit? How do you recruit your drivers? Do they come to you?
They
Or do
come
you
to
have
me,
a
they
recruiting
need a number.
process?
Yeah, they need a number. A lot of them, they come to me, I need a number. I write his name, I take his license, whatever they are, then,
So you don't actively go to the airport or taxi stands or anything and recruit drivers in that manner?
no, I never do this for him, but.
Excuse me, he has floor right now. Please be quiet.
So you stated to us that you are missing 600 calls a month?
Yes, sir.
And so with that 600 calls a month that you're missing, you think that you're going to place these particular cars in an area or just add them to your fleet as a whole?
No, yeah, of course, I gonna add it to my fleet and add it to the area where they will be waiting in the area where they call coming. Like
Okay.
I divide it for Antioch, Smyrna, Laverne, Murfreesboro, wherever they are, in West Nashville, whatever.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, we deal with the website right now.
So on your website, does it actively seek new drivers? Is there an advertisement saying, looking for taxi drivers, this is what we offer, call us at this number? Or is it an advertisement for customers? Is your website just specifically for customers, or does it have a portion of it that recruits drivers?
The website is for the driver right now and for the customer. Also for the customer, they can check they have the telephone number, they can call us. That's what you mean?
No, I know that your website is going to have an advertisement for customers to reach out to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned with your recruiting process. On your website, does it also have a portion of it that says, looking for immediate employment, please contact this number? Or does it just say, this is my taxi company, this is my number, this is how to contact me?
Yeah, always we do like advertising for this. We always in website, we do advertising. Also, we do advertising for the hotel, everything for this.
He's asking, do you advertise for drivers to come work for you on the website?
Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm never do this. I'm never.
There's a careers page on the website.
Someone's looking at your website right now, and Commissioner, would you explain what you found?
Is your website regalcar.co? Is that the correct website for your company?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like there's a careers page on your website.
Okay.
regalcar.co/careers.
I know they
But
just,
it sounds like that's not your primary, if you didn't even know this page was on your website, it sounds like that's not your primary driver for recruiting.
I don't know what you're speaking about.
She's asking, how do you get drivers? Do drivers just come to you,
They come
or
to-
do you go out and?
They take my telephone number from the car, from the sticker in the car, they call me.
So
They
if
call
they're
us.
already employed, why would they call you from seeing a phone number on another car?
What do you mean? I'm sorry for
Like,
that.
what's the incentive? Why would they, if they're already driving for another company, why would they come work for you?
I don't know about this, maybe the price, maybe price issue, maybe they don't like the other company, maybe need to be, we have good company, we have good reputation company, we deal like a brother.
But yeah, what I'm asking is, how do they know all of that when it's not on your website? I mean, how would they know that?
Just to be honest with you, they call us in the telephone number. We need this number, give us. I have many drivers, they need a number, that's what I have.
Something's not adding up for me there.
Anything further, Mr. Lewis?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Does the commission have any further questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, I did have one more question.
Yes, sir.
You're requesting 52 additional permits. You have currently 22 permits.
Yes, sir.
Have you purchased any ADA compliant vehicles in anticipation of your application for additional permits? Do you have any cars ready right now to be,
Yes, sir, I have the car ready, yeah.
one car?
No, I have many car, I have like the 52 car ready.
Are they outfitted for,
Asking you ADA cars, ones that can.
Oh, okay.
yeah, do you have cars that are,
I have two, sir.
that are
Right now.
fitted for ramps for people with wheelchairs or people on crutches or walkers?
Yes, sir.
But you said they're not in use.
No, not in use right now, but we buy it already.
You have them ready right now?
Yes.
Two of them?
Yeah, we're gonna, yeah. No, I mean, the two cars, the wheelchair car? Yeah. We don't have it in service right now, but we have it in,
In the parking lot? Where? On order? What?
no. Once we take the
Mr.
car.
Lewis, can you help him to make sure his answers are accurate?
Where are the ADA compliant cars? If you got a permit issued today, could you have an ADA
Well,
compliant car in service by tomorrow?
Yeah, I can do it by next week, yeah.
By next week?
Yes.
Okay, where are the cars?
We don't buy it right now.
Huh?
We don't have it, we don't have it physically we own it physically, we can buy it.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Just logistically, how does that work that you'll buy them? When we have a list of drivers and it says the make of their vehicles, you'll just retrofit them with the ADA compliant, like, is that how that works?
Some of them can be because they're vans
Okay.
and like Siennas and some of the Toyotas can be retrofitted. They don't have to actually be made from the factory that way. It shocks and drop on the floor and stuff like that.
Commissioner
Okay.
Carr, microphone.
But they would have to be willing to modify their personal vehicle.
Correct.
So,
And it's expensive.
and as we heard from one gentleman, that may be a reason that they go to Uber instead of with a new cab company.
And I think my biggest concern is actually, as it's been addressed, is that we're shuffling, we're actually issuing more permits to be stagnant because we're shuffling the same amount of drivers. We're not actually adding, we're just moving them around so that now they will have more unused permits. We've issued even more permits to a new company, and we're willy-nilly throwing permits out there, and it's really the same people. We're not adding to the need and necessity because we're not adding. We're just moving.
I think that comes with our deliberations, though.
Yeah,
Right.
we first got to decide, yeah. We'll take up whether there's a need for additional cabs or not, once we finish the public hearing. All right, thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a representative from Tennessee National Cab here today?
Chair, also, you're having these conversations to establish whether we have that need, correct? That's what we're doing. Okay, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Well, I was going to ask you, do you have a statement you want to make in support of your request for, well, first of all, what's your name?
Don Vilcent.
What's the last name?
Vilcent.
Vilcent?
Yes.
Mr. Vilcent, are you a representative of Tennessee National Cab?
Yes, sir.
And what role, what position do you hold there?
Owner and manager.
Okay, and you have made a request for 20 additional permits?
Yes, sir.
Tell us why.
Because in 2024, I applied for 20 additional permits,
Yes.
but you guys decided to give me 10. And the other 10 drivers out there still want to drive for my company. And then I have more apply.
So your request is based upon the fact that you have drivers who want to drive vehicles for you?
Yeah.
All right, can you tell me why we should issue more permits on behalf of the citizens of Nashville, Davidson County?
Because first of all, I want to help those drivers who are interested to drive for my company. And secondly, we have more calls out there, especially late at night, when we answer the phone and they try to call the other bigger company or company who've been in service for a longer time and no one answering. That's why some of them tell us. And so we need more drivers. My company is a small company, so we have a group of drivers working at night and another group driver working second shift, first shift and second shift. So yeah, that's why we need more, a little bit more.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or?
I noticed that you have several Toyota Sienna vans in your fleet. Are any of those vans ADA? Are they handicap vans?
No, one. It's not Toyota. It is a Dodge.
It's the Dodge?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the only one you have?
Yeah.
Would anyone be willing to convert any of their other vans to ADA?
I have one drivers who would like to.
Okay. What are your fees? What do you charge for your weekly fees?
See, different company make different choices. The drivers that work outside, I charge them different. I charge the driver who work outside $45 per week, and the driver who work in the airport, I charge them $60 per week.
Okay. Being that you provide no service for the ones. Okay.
I just want to remind the commission about the criteria in Rule 218. And I believe, Mr. Rooker, were you going to share information
Sure.
about the complaints?
Yeah, we need to like we did the company before, we have 10 verified complaints on 10 National Cab. Have no problem working those out. They were all taken care of. The volume of complaints is one of the factors. Having a company, resolution, the things that we're all asked for, company resolution process, dispatchers having vehicles self-inspected program, capital investment per annum, drivers training program, drivers probationary period, drivers reward program. So just wanted to go over that again real quick. So he did have 10 out of 91, he'd have 10 verified permits that were worked out.
Sir, do you have any of your 20, you have 20 cabs, 20 permits currently, or 10? You have 10?
No, I have 30.
You have 30?
Yeah.
Do you have drivers for all 30 of your existing?
What's that?
Do you have drivers, are all those, you don't have any empty
No,
permits?
all
Okay.
full.
All full, okay.
Is that correct, Mr. Rooker? He has 30 permits?
Yes, sir. He has 30 permits. He's requesting 20 additional permits.
Thank you, Mr. Vilsaint.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to make it just seems to me that, and I would address this to the public. It just seems to me that the difference in these permits sitting is what you're charging the drivers. If these two companies are using every permit that they have and are saying, if you issue us more, they will not be just sitting, they will be in use, because we don't need to make $30,000 a month off the drivers. That might be, I mean, if one can do it, all can do it. And I say that because I'm in the industry. And when someone else comes into our industry and offers more, you're right, it just can't be done because it can be done. It has to make financial sense. And so if they're able to do it, we have to slide our profit margins if we want to be competitive. And that's not something that the board can regulate for you.
Is there a representative from Z, if I'll get it right here in a second, from Z-Trip? Come on forward. Do I understand you gave us a brochure and that you've got a presentation too?
Yes, sir. Did you get that?
Please introduce yourselves.
Chair, just also again, before we begin, I would like to, they're asking for 25 additional permits. We have 0 complaints on Z-Trip.
How long have they been in existence?
1 year.
1 year.
One full year now?
One full
The
year.
last taxi hearings when we
All
were
right.
granted.
I remember
the
you
permit.
came in last time, yep.
Yes, sir. Today's our 1 year anniversary.
It's just hard to imagine.
Give
It's
or
already
take,
been a
yeah.
year now. So.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dwight Kynes, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Z-Trip. And I'm going to start off by saying thank you very much for the action you took earlier. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, all the commissioners, definitely to the staff. We appreciate it. We heard you. We hear you. We heard you last year. We still hear you this year. We'll commit now that 25% of any permits that we're awarded will be ADA accessible.
Hold on. Your brochure says 44% of your fleet is already ADA accessible. Why would we leave money on the table?
That
How
was
about a
last.
commitment to what's advertised?
You're working ahead of us, Commissioner. If we did
I
the
just want to keep the
20%,
record straight.
25% of the new ones plus included with 44% of the current ones will still be at a third, being ADA accessible.
You can continue.
Thank you. I also want to apologize because our CEO, Bill George, who was here last year and wanted to be here today, but couldn't because he had a conflict that he couldn't move. So I apologize that he's not here. We tried to beam him in, but that didn't work. And Bill and I are part of the national support that Z-Trip has for our local experts that are sitting here to my right, and you'll hear from momentarily. And we're here today to ask for 25 additional permits, as has already been mentioned. We thank you for last year's 25 permits. We've deployed them all, have vehicles on those permits, drivers on those permits, drivers that are making money, drivers that didn't come. I don't think we onboarded any drivers from other cab companies. They came from outside the industry, TNC drivers, school bus drivers, medical drivers. We don't typically hire, or onboard, I'm sorry, drivers from other cab companies. So we've been successful in expanding the driver pool in the city. We've also been successful in expanding our footprints of customers. Our customer base has grown so that we have more capacity, more demand, and we need supply, which is why we're asking for the permits today. I'm going to turn to the first slide, just a quick reminder of who we are. For those that weren't here last year, we're the largest taxi cab company in the United States. Since we saw you this time last year, we've added about 800 vehicles in the last year through a couple acquisitions in Las Vegas and Clearwater, Florida. We promised you, and we are the new face of taxi. We have added new technology here. Smart meters are in all of our taxi cabs. Our cameras, I know that the cabs in Nashville have cameras. Our cameras are equipped with AI that actually talks to the driver while he's driving, coaches him up, and also some upgraded wheelchair vehicles, to mention a few. You'll hear a little bit more in just a second. We've serviced many ADA passengers in many different neighborhoods around Nashville. And again, in the surrounding area, and we haven't sacrificed safety. So this fleet, as a matter of fact, here in Nashville has one of the lowest accident frequencies of any of our fleets in the country. Our on-time service has enabled us to grow our customer base, as I've said, and by primarily pulling passengers from TNCs and other services, not just current taxi customers. So we've been able to expand the footprint in Nashville, not only with drivers new to the industry, but also passengers. So now I'm going to turn it over to Aspen and Hunter to give you an update on what we've done locally.
Yeah, I think we're just here for looks at this point, covering all that. All right, so we good? You turned me off. My name is Hunter Thompson. I'm the VP of Operations here in Nashville for Z-Trip. As Dwight stated, we have 25 of 25 permits on the road, so no permits sitting, no permits inactive, and it's been that way since we were awarded those permits last hearing, January 16th. We actually helped launch one of the initiatives here in Nashville with the smart meters. I believe we did the test run with TD, Mr. Rooker. Started that, piloted that program for them. We're the first one to start that. So bringing that technology here with Nashville is just one of the many changes that we brought in since we kind of started here in Nashville. So smart meters were approved in May. Then the fleet was deployed shortly after, beginning of July 25. So we had all those permits on the road, all the vehicles on the road. And with that, since the last hearing, really under a year since we've had had all 25 permits, the total amount of trips that we've done with those 25 permits from an ambulatory standpoint with taxi trips is 54,398. From an ADA standpoint, we've done 11,551 wheelchair trips.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Those are separate trips, so you wouldn't count a wheelchair ambulatory trip together? Those are separate trips.
What we consider ambulatory, it's non-wheelchair. So ambulatory can 100% be an ADA trip. So I think the verbiage there could be changed a little bit, but that would be non-wheelchair trip service. So it's all ADA. Yes, ma'am.
Those 54,000 and 11,000, is there any overlap in those numbers?
What do you mean?
So you're saying that those are two completely separate categories?
Yes. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
We have a taxi side and we have an OPVH side.
Thank you.
So, yep, going back to those, the numbers, 11,551 wheelchair trips completed, which amounts over 59,000 hours on the road. And as Dwight had stated, with our safety numbers, it's pretty impressive for being here for a year in Nashville. One of the things I really love to hang my hat on, as Director Rooker had stated, is since being here, since obtaining the company permit, we've had 0 complaints. And I don't think that there's any, I think that directly correlates with the fact that we came in here with the smart meters. I think that was the biggest issue in the past was the transparency side of it, not being able to see the rates, the fare on the meter. So I think those two directly correlate.
I apologize, I'm having some trouble understanding this particular slide.
Yeah.
To the left, you have 11,551, but in the image, the 12,579, and I was just wondering if you could, and then what is a retail trip?
Sure. A retail trip is someone that's paying cash and credit card, not an account. We do account work from hospitals and medical trips and things like that. So the retail trips are folks, citizens in the neighborhoods, also from the cab stands. We really aren't at the cab stands very much, Broadway or the airport, but those would be real retail trips that are paid for by the passenger rather than by a third party.
So the difference between the 11,000 and the 12,000 on wheelchair?
Yeah. So so the 11,000 would be the taxi, and the remaining would be the account work.
Non-retail? So, I'm sorry.
What does account work mean?
Account, non-private pay, like, yeah.
Do you still have a contract with WeGo? Didn't you have a contract?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're still very much so involved with WeGo, and actually with that, we've kind of been introduced to several different programs within WeGo, and we're servicing them as well.
Are these vehicles all corporately owned or privatized?
We own the vehicles.
So you're free, pretty much look standard. It's going to be,
We're all universal, yes, sir.
okay.
So, correct me if I'm wrong on these numbers, if I'm using 11,000 and 54,000, that means that 60% of your trips are ambulatory or wheelchair, and if I'm using the 12,500, that means 61% of your trips are ambulatory or wheelchair, is that correct?
Yes, so we specialize in ADA. That's what we brought here to the Nashville market, is taking care of the ADA community in Nashville and surrounding counties, really across Tennessee, which we'll get into in the next slide.
And you've got 11 vehicles that are ADA compliant?
I appreciate you asking, yes.
So
if
60% of your trips are run on 11 vehicles?
So technically, every driver that we have is ADA trained and certified. So every vehicle can be considered an ADA vehicle. However, we have 11 wheelchair accessible vehicles. And as many of you may recall, in the last hearing that we had to be approved for the company taxi permit, we were required to have 10 wheelchair accessible vehicles with the approval of 25 permits. Not only did we bring in 10, we brought in a +1. We brought in 11 total wheelchair accessible vehicles into Nashville. And prior to that, prior to us coming into the Nashville market, there were only 15 wheelchair accessible taxis.
All right, keep going. I don't want to slow this down.
No, I mean, if there's any more questions before we keep going, I'm more than happy to answer.
Yeah, you said you were proposing or promising to put at least 25% more of the 25 coming in, or whatever number may be apportioned?
Correct. Yeah, we have a ton of ADA work, especially wheelchair work, that we're missing out on in lieu of.
This 25% would be vehicles that would be wheelchair accessible? Not just, not just vehicles with drivers that are trained in ADA?
Absolutely not.
Correct.
They'd be ADA vehicles.
The wheelchair,
with drivers.
wheelchair accessible vehicles. The verbiage is a little different between him and I, but yes, wheelchair accessible. Anything else before we keep moving?
And you guys don't charge, of course, you own the vehicles, so you're not charging a weekly fee.
We do charge a weekly lease fee.
Oh, it's a lease fee to the
Yes.
vehicle, okay.
What is that fee?
Depends on whether or not they are going to go with a wheelchair ADA vehicle or just like an ambulatory vehicle.
Like a range?
It's
In the 500.
500.
A month?
500 a month?
No, it's
A week.
500 a week?
Yes.
For which vehicle roughly?
It could be anything from an SUV to a van.
Okay. And do you charge more for a wheelchair ADA
We do.
We do.
It's a difference of
designated
$50.
vehicle? How much for
It's a
that?
difference of $50.
So 500 and 550 lease fee a week to the driver?
They're around, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the wheelchair vehicles are more expensive, so that's why they're a little bit higher.
The
but
conversion.
both fees include maintenance, insurance, dispatch work, credit card processing. A lot of services are cranked in there. It's not just the cost of the vehicle.
Another thing that goes into that cost as well is that we have a on-site mechanic, an on-site shop as well. So there's rarely any downtime with the wheelchair units, non-wheelchair units. So we keep them on the road. We have a mechanic on site, shop on site, so we keep them rolling.
I'll give you an example too. We started with 3 drivers, 2 of which we have retained from day one, and the third one, she retired. If that gives you any indication of how we retain our drivers.
Okay. We on the next slide? Okay. So one of the biggest gripes that has been expressed here in this meeting is we don't need more permits in Nashville. Well, I can understand that certainly on Broadway. If anyone's been out to Broadway in the last year, 15 years, the taxis have flooded Broadway. We don't specialize in Broadway, and how we continue to grow is, if you look at the map here, you see all these outlier counties beyond Davidson County. Those are the areas that we have serviced and are continuing to service either on a daily basis or a weekly basis at our operation. That is how we continue to be successful, is we have work out here. When folks say that they serve the underserved, I don't even think that speaks for itself right there. As far as the communities that we service, the people that we service, that speaks volumes right there. We're willing and able, and we do it. We go outside of Davidson County, and we take care of everyone. Moving on to the next one.
Back to the 44.
Yeah, so I did somewhat hit on this. So when we came into the Nashville market, we were essentially required to bring in 10 wheelchair accessible vehicles. Immediately upon getting the approval for the permits, we brought in 11 wheelchair units. And again, with the promise of 20 to 25% extra with the wheelchair accessible vehicles, with the approval of more permits, we're going to continue to take on more and more of the wheelchair trips and continue to expand on our service areas across Tennessee, not just Middle Tennessee, all of Tennessee. And with that, we'll move it over to Aspen.
I've got one quick question.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys have corporate accounts that you're servicing, and you noticed, and you made note that in servicing those, you realize there are more that you need to service. Are you guys missing calls from the residential because of corporate? Because do they supersede? Do you have certain vehicles that are solely set aside for corporate and a certain amount that you have set aside for non-corporate calls?
Every vehicle that we have in our fleet services taxi, residential, they're everywhere. And yes, there are calls, there are trips that I have to decline. We're pretty heavy, just for an example, out in the Dixon, the Dixon County area, there's a ton of calls that I have to turn down. Clarksville, Montgomery County up there, because we don't have enough wheelchair units. We don't have enough wheelchair units and permits in order to service that area. We can, we have to have the equipment, we have to have the permits to get there.
Would like to.
We can do it.
Before Asman gets started, like just to introduce Asman, he's our recruiter. He's going to talk about driver qualifications now, but somebody asked how other companies are finding drivers, and we have a very robust recruiting program and retention program, because that's very key. And Aspen is a full-time recruiter for us here in Nashville.
Hello, everyone. So, driver qualifications is what we're looking for, a good, robust training program, compliance standards. All of our drivers have to go through a background check. They're all professionally licensed. We have insurance standards company-wide. We're looking at drivers receiving ongoing training. They're coming back in for, especially the first three weeks, they come back for what we call comebacks. They all have ADA-related and accessibility training. They will also have wheelchair-specific training, which is a separate training before they go out. They will all have FTA drug screening. They also have, which Hunter can specifically go into, they will have random drug screens throughout the year. It's company-wide. And we require that we have, even when a driver comes in, we will check the cleanliness of a vehicle, make sure that we do walk-arounds. Again, we have a maintenance on site to make sure that the vehicles are always, that there's oversight of our vehicles, including the drivers, compliance monitoring. Everything remains in good standing. This is just operational foundation for our business. I also wanted to speak to, earlier a chairperson did bring up, why would they choose us over Uber and Lyft? I know this is a sidebar, but they choose us for reliability. You can book us, you can schedule it in advance, you cannot do that, or if you do, it's still not reliable. Why do I not choose Uber when I have to get to the airport at 4 a.m.? Because I don't know if they'll show up. You can do that with us. We are professional. All of our drivers have had a background check. All of our drivers have been vetted. All of our drivers have been drug tested. All of our drivers have continuous training. We have operational oversight. They are fully insured. They are ADA compliant, if you want to speak to the ADA portion of this. Uber, not so sure. They may get a thing on their phone, which is on an app where they just push next, 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 next. That does not happen. They meet with me. We have door-to-door service and ADA-specific vehicles. Again, you're not going to get a specific vehicle with Uber. There is real human support, whether it be myself, whether it be our driver specialist, our driver manager, which is there 8 to 5 every single day. We are familiar, we are predictable, we have newer vehicles, we have reduced anxiety for vulnerable community members. That's why you select us. Now I can move on from that sidebar. Hopefully that answers your question. We have driver qualifications that I mentioned, and then I will move to the next slide.
And if you don't mind, I will add to that, and I think that plays a huge part into the complaint aspect of things. We know who our drivers are. We know exactly who is on the road, and we have that one-on-one with them. When I say we, a large part is me. Obviously, we're looking to grow, and I'm hoping to have more of me, but we know exactly who we're putting on the road. We don't just allow anybody coming in from XYZ taxi company. They're vetted through and through before onboarding with us and going onto the road and serving Davidson County.
Yep, and again, the majority of them have never worked for a taxi company. That's not who we find. Most of our people come from a variety of different, just a variety of different advertisements and things like that. It's me using our corporate resources. Again, I have headed towards 20 years in talent acquisition background, so you may find me on LinkedIn, but I have many, many years in transportation, but in talent acquisition specifically. So I have no lack of resources in finding drivers that are not from taxi backgrounds, which allows us to pull from resources that were not generally from where you may be finding them typically. But since our launch, our trip volume has increased significantly. Our current safety score is a 91, which we're headed towards near a 13-point year-over-year improvement. These safety gains were achieved by, as it says there, while trip volume has increased over 270%.
What is the measure for a safety score?
So that's through, what here is a Samsara computer system, camera system, and it takes into the AI so that they are monitoring the drivers, whether it be their speed, drowsy driving, harsh braking, a variety of different measures. And then there is also a safety system built in. We have a performance manager that is the first level. I am the second level of that. And then Hunter and I would be like the third step. So there's a variety of different levels to which our safety team would be involved, that we would get our team involved with that. So
Just to clarify, the safety score is the number of events someone would have over the period of time they were driving.
Right.
So an event is going too fast, distracted driving, drowsy, that sort of thing that's recorded by the camera, and the frequency of those events over the period of time they were driving.
And then specifically triggering the safety team.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Moving on.
And adding to that, I think we are one of the few, if not the only taxi company, if not OPVH, here in Nashville that has the Samsara safety cameras in every single vehicle. That's not an option. It is something that is required in every single one of our vehicles. If a driver doesn't want the camera, they're not driving for us. And not only, from a driver safety standpoint, but a public safety standpoint, that to me says a lot about us as a company and where we are with our vision and who we are as a company. All right, where are we at?
You said earlier that the drivers have a professional license. Do you mean like a driver for hire license?
And
F-endorsed driver's
An
license.
F-endorsement.
I'm stepping on his toes.
Okay.
All drivers are required, even if they come in the first day without it, must be Tennessee driver's license. And then if they don't have a CDL, an F-endorsed driver's license, they must go and get one while we're waiting for their background to come back.
Gotcha.
And there are certain variables on the MVR as well that go back 5 years that if there's certain events on there, we won't allow them to
Right.
drive for us. So again, we're not allowing anyone just to come off the streets and drive for us. It's a true vetting process.
We still have company standards and compliance even beyond that before we even get to the background checks. They must be 25 and, then there's company standards that we require before we would put them even to the background check.
Any other questions?
Last slide.
Are we already on the last one? So yes, again, to reiterate, 100% of our permits are in use, which is why we are here requesting more. Their current demands are asking or calling for the additional permits. And again, going along with that, our safety.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sustained rider demand exceeds current permit capacity. Give me some numbers. Give me some numbers.
Of,
to support that claim?
as far as the trip volume and lack of
Yeah.
the
how many-
drivers?
How many rides are you not able to accommodate? How many calls are you not able to
Oh, gosh,
accommodate?
I mean, that number's really never ending. But so right now, we're doing around 300, a little over, around that range, 300. But as far as declining goes, I mean, I'm up in the hundreds per day with where we're at. And again, that's not just Davidson County.
Because that goes to one of the important considerations for us is there a public need for additional taxis out there? And that, most of the time, that's measured by how many calls you're having to turn down because you don't have vehicles available.
Correct.
And we heard from one company about 600 a day, and I just would like to have an idea of how many you're really turning down. And if you come in next time for some permits, I'd try to get a handle on those kind of numbers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the data from everywhere on that one as well. But from what I have, like, physically have my hands on day to day, that minimum number would be at least 100 trips per day. So, you know, obviously average that out throughout the week, that's 700 trips.
100 calls that you've had to turn
100,
away?
yes, minimum, every single day. And again, you know, that the number may seem crazy because I think a lot of us think just Davidson County. You know, we're not just servicing Davidson County. We're not just going down to Antioch, to Smyrna, Murfreesboro. Again, we're going way out there, Cookeville, Knoxville, Memphis, up north, Clarksville, Lewisburg, Lawrenceburg. We're going all over the place for this. So that is where a lot of that demand is coming from.
I have a question about operating in other counties. Do you have to go through any hearings, any permits?
It's not like that, no.
Well,
This
you
is
would-
a
you would
very
in
high.
Shelby County, don't you?
I'm sorry?
In Shelby County, Memphis, you would, wouldn't you?
In Shelby County?
Yeah.
I would.
Drop-off point.
Yeah, that's not, it's a drop-off point for us because we're not starting in Shelby County. We
So
start
you're not-
in Nashville.
You're not going down to Franklin, picking somebody up and bringing them to St.
No,
Thomas
these would
Hospital
be
in
like Nashville.
Hold on, let me finish my question, okay? You're not going down to Franklin, picking somebody up and coming back to St. Thomas Hospital. You're taking someone from the
Mm-hmm.
airport to Franklin.
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay. So explain to me again that slide with the picture of most of the state in red and the need for cabs out in those outlying counties.
The biggest,
Put that together for me somehow again.
so the biggest need that we see out there, especially in rural counties, I'm sure Commissioner Westlake can attest to this, is the wheelchair accessibility, really any sort of accessibility options in the rural areas, because Uber is not going to touch them. Other transportations companies, TNCs, they're not going to touch them.
And that need is to pick somebody up in that county, in McMinn County
Yeah, I
or
mean-
Coffee County?
To, from, wherever it may be, yes, yeah, correct. The accessibility options, especially in the rural counties like that, it's just not there. And especially if
I
you're,
don't want to be harsh here, but why should this commission, which is a Davidson County Transportation Licensing Commission, worry about White County, Warren County, Grundy County, or the other outlying counties? Why would that be a consideration of public necessity for Davidson County?
when it comes to folks with the disability community, bringing them to and from the hospital here, a lot of times in Davidson County, that is where they're going to find the best health care services here, whether it be going to Vanderbilt, Centennial, dialysis clinics here. Again, I think, like Commissioner Westlake, if you're involved in the ADA community, the APAC community, the Mayor's Committee Advisory Board,
Again, I'm
you
not
will
trying to be
understand.
insensitive to the
Yeah.
ADA community. I'm asking, why should this commission, a Davidson County Commission, be interested in service and needs to people in Van Buren County? Or
I
Bledsoe?
think really that shows our more of our capabilities, not necessarily that we're trying to put them above Nashville. It's just showcasing our capabilities.
Those community members still end up here in those hospitals, and we still service those community members wherever they may be from in Nashville because they're using those services in Nashville.
And then I'm back to, you're actually picking up in the outlying counties and coming here
Well,
and returning.
if I can, and I apologize for not having the data. And I think we may be talking a little bit off the top of our head with these, but most of the trips that we're declining are here in Nashville. They're retail trips because we only take orders for in Nashville. Again, when I say on-demand orders, let's say, there's a lot of reservations that are out that far. There is some, or there will be more of us picking somebody up someplace and bringing them back to a hospital here in Nashville. But of the 100 trips that Hunter talked about, and I was here trying to figure out the percentage of overall trips, and that we're probably losing a third of them. 100 might be a good number. I know it's not 600, but most of those are in and around Nashville, the immediate Nashville area, where we have been servicing the neighborhood since we got the taxi cabs. So again, our fault for not having the data, and we can.
So you all are not,
supply it.
in this map, you all are not sure how much of this is Davidson County and how much of it would be point to point for another county?
Like a percentage of,
Yeah.
at least in the 90s, for 95% Davidson County.
Where the start or the end point is in Davidson
Correct,
County?
yes. That is the bulk of our work. I mean, we're obviously we're Nashville through and through. But there is a need in other areas, especially Nashville, but in other
Sure,
areas
I believe
as
you,
well.
but
Yeah,
if you bring us numbers, that helps a lot more.
Absolutely.
I'd be more than happy to. I apologize for not having it.
So I feel the need to defend my community, which is to say, because of affordability, a lot of people with disabilities live right outside of Davidson County, but come into Davidson County to work, come into Davidson County to shop, come into Davidson County for healthcare. So, I mean, particularly around contiguous counties, the county lines have been a huge problem for transportation for people who need accessible transportation. WeGo doesn't cross a county line. So if I have a conference or a meeting I need to attend in Williamson County, and I live in Davidson County and rely on accessible transportation, I have to figure out how to hire someone to get me there. So, I mean, I think county lines are important, but county lines also are pretty malleable right around, particularly our donut counties, in terms of living and working and needing transportation.
I have a question. Do we have any information on timeliness of response, not just with this group, but just when someone is told they will be picked up? Because I heard you say that Uber or Lyft are not reliable in terms of time. I have to say that a good friend of mine, although he has not used directly your service, a lot of his fellow wheelchair-bound people have, and he felt that there was oftentimes a delay. So I'm hoping that there is a commitment to honor timeframes if you were, even if you don't get an expansion, but to make sure. And that information may not be accurate. I'm just saying that's what I had heard. But that he had very positive things to say otherwise about the service, but just to express some concern about delay between time told for pickup and actual accomplishment of that.
I'll tell you, in the past, and that was very helpful because it reminded me of something. In the past, when we were considering additional permits, some companies would come in and say, we're so busy, we have to sometimes tell people it'll be an hour before we can pick them up because we don't have enough vehicles. Have you experienced a delay? Well, you're shaking your head up and down, so I'll let you go ahead and speak instead of me.
Very much so. From a wheelchair accessible vehicle standpoint, yes, there is a huge demand for it. And we service as much as we can. We just can't service it all, unfortunately.
I have another question. What took you 23 days to get your application in?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go
You're
too.
here, so I'm going to ask you.
So it was me, and I don't want to go too much into it personally.
It was you?
I'm sorry?
It was you?
It was me.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I've already had sidebar conversations with Director Rooker and TDE over here, but I was going through some pretty significant health issues, lost around 40 pounds for leading up to that, around the 2 months. I was in and out of the hospital for about a month and a half, dealing with a medical condition, and then after that, complications from that. So I do apologize.
At least from my perspective, you don't have to go any further.
Yeah.
You said you were a month and a half in and out of hospital. That's,
Yes. I started my weight loss journey at 240, and I'm around 200 pounds now, so not the best way to do it, but we're here.
thank
So
you.
I do apologize, and I appreciate you guys.
I just want to say thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Would you say that you say you're unable to answer these calls? Do you, so there are a lot of independent ambulatory services. I see them, they kind of look like hospital or metro ambulatory services, but they're actually independent. Is that the field that you're trying to fill?
If you're talking about contracted for hire sedans, OPVH is what that's the term here in Nashville. We plan on doing both, taxi cab and that type of medical transportation. The difference is that our ADA trips, our wheelchair trips are much cheaper than theirs. So we're delivering the service at a much lower price point for the folks that need it.
So do you all provide Medicare transportation?
Yes.
Yeah, and Freddie, that's probably what you're seeing are independent companies who only provide transportation to medical appointments, and they bill Medicare for it. So for older and disabled folks, Medicare will cover transportation to and from your appointments, and that there is a independent industry in doing that.
It's considered like the non-emergency medical transportation industry.
Which we do around the country. We just don't
yeah.
do it here. We just haven't gotten contracted with the state broker.
Do you have anything further you want to share with us?
I'll just add that we've shown how willing we are to invest in Nashville. You guys are growing, we're growing, and we'll continue to spend money on technology and equipment and that sort of thing to improve our service and the service to folks here.
What were the factors that went into consideration of offering 25%, only offering 25% for ADA vehicles versus the standard seems to be 44%? What went into that decision?
Well, the standard, our standard's not 44%. Our standard usually is 20%. We want 20% of our fleet's wheelchair accessible. By the way, I think, I don't want to misspeak, but we last year, I think we're one of the largest wheelchair van purchasers in the country. So again, we'll get more here if we have to. We're committing to the 25%, five out of 25 will be ADA vehicles. Still higher than what our average or our portion is in other parts of the country, but just not 44%.
What'd that bring us up to, 16 out of 50?
I was trying to do the math. I thought we got, somehow got the 30% between them.
We have 11 in operation, so yes.
I'm not good enough to do what percentage 16 out of 50 is. Thank you. All right, if there's no further questions, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
your time.
All right, is there anybody else that hasn't spoken so far that would like to speak at the public hearing for the annual hearing? You want a rebuttal on something, I guess. Yeah, I'll give you a minute and a half. If it's all right with the rest of the commissioners.
And I apologize, Ma, I interrupted you a while ago, but I have a question for, I don't know where they getting information, and I'm gonna talk my company, not, because I'm not gonna be taking, half of anybody. Every company should have a software and they know what they're doing. So my software now, I know how many incoming calls coming every day. And I know how many trips I picked up and how many canceled, how many's been completed. So every one of them, when I heard they've been talking about their software, and I can say right now, oh, I've got 50,000 calls coming in a day. Can I prove it? Yes, I will prove it for you guys. I can send to TLC every trip I have. So, and also, and I have respect of wheelchair, the handicap cars. Yes, we do have a business. And he says every company's together's got a 15 wheelchairs, and whole industry, which is, I don't know where that information is coming from. Myself, I have 19 wheelchair. 13 of them is taxi. 5 of them, I do have a same thing, contract with WeGo. We've been doing service for 24 hours, 7. So secondly, if this gentleman, he say, I get a 600 calls a day with the dispatch. I mean, what I show, if I'm a customer, and I will check their website and check where is their address, where this office is showing up past whatever they got the company, is showing home address, residential, it's not a commercial. So, we all 6 companies right here. We've been in business forever. We've been saying, please, I'm just gonna beg. We don't need a more permit. That's my last question to you guys. And I don't think, so, but wheelchairs, the handicap, yeah, of course, we need more. I've got 19 of them, we never stop, 24 hours. But other than that, I don't think, because if we're giving away, like he said, we're giving away more permit to those people, and those permits have been sitting, we've been paying for, and we have no reason to pay for. We're gonna just probably give it back.
But what I'm hearing clearly from you is that there's a need for more ADA accessible vehicles, taxi cabs.
Yes, absolutely.
And yours stay busy all the time.
Yes, 24 hours, 7. We never stop.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I make one clarification?
If you'll sit down and make it.
Mr. Chairman, it was 20 calls per day, an average of 600 per month. I just wanted to make sure that was clarified.
I think I mistook when I said 600 a day earlier too.
We understood.
But thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to close the public hearing now for the annual meeting. Director Rooker or Metro Legal, if you would like to give us some guidance on the procedures we are to follow or the protocol for following for our next decisions to be made.
We'll let legal do that.
All right. So I think it's appropriate for you first to have a motion on whether or not additional permits will be needed in the area, and then have additional motions regarding each individual company that's asking for additional permits, and determine how many additional permits you'll give to each of those companies. And those would all be separate motions based on the evidence you've heard today.
So a motion first on whether there's a necessity for additional permits. Then I think we also have to have a motion on how many additional permits in general to put, and then we go into dividing up which companies, if any, get them.
And I think, based off of one other similar type vote, we did a maximum increase, but did not necessarily end up awarding that full amount, that there would be a need.
We actually maxed it out. It backed up because people surrendered their permits after are you talking about the OPPH?
It was petty
Well, why don't we
cabs.
first address whether
I have
there's a
another
need
question
for cabs or
I have a
additional.
follow-up question for legal on what we're voting on. I remember from last year, we were not allowed to distinguish between a need for regular permits and a need for wheelchair accessible vehicles. Is that, when we're determining the public necessity, is that still correct?
I don't see anything in the rules or guidance here that makes a distinction. I mean, it's one of the factors in, under the rules, when you're reviewing applications for additional permits, under Rule 218, that is one of the factors, underserved areas, service programs, and special passenger accommodations, disabled senior citizens. That's one of the factors you can consider in awarding additional permits to an individual company that's asking for more permits, I believe.
But we were not allowed to dictate the number of specific wheelchair accessible vehicle permits per company last year.
TD,
No, I think with Z, we did actually
They committed to
negotiate with
that.
them. Yeah.
They made a commitment, but we didn't.
But in the beginning, before when you were deciding whether more permits
Yeah.
in general were needed,
Right.
you're saying
I'm
you
saying-
you don't believe.
We don't have, I believe, we do not have the authority to dictate how many, to separate the two permits from regular and
So
wheelchair
that we, in
accessible.
determining that there are additional permits needed, the factors that we can look at, which will include meeting the needs of certain communities, we could make that determination that we believe, but we don't, we then.
After, but yes, when we give the permits, we cannot say you need to use these for wheelchair accessible vehicles.
you cannot specify how many or percentage how many.
So
Is that correct, TD?
that's my point.
So when we make a determination, it will be that because of the factors in the rule we've looked at, we believe there may be areas of the county that aren't being served. There are groups of citizens that might not be being served. But then once we go through, we can't say you get three and all three have to be.
Correct.
Okay.
But I don't know what says we can't.
Sure we can.
Yeah,
That's the reason I bring it
hold
up
on,
is
let's
because
take
that's
it
what
one at a
happened
time,
last year.
okay?
Yeah.
I don't know of any rule that says we can't say there's a need for X number of handicapped ADA compliant vehicles, and there's not a need for regular taxi cabs out there.
Though the
And I
permit,
wouldn't want us to start setting rules up for ourselves or parameters that aren't, because in some ways, from the evidence I heard today, there is a need for ADA compliant vehicles. And for us to stick our heads in the sand and say, well, we can't really say that, it seems to be a disservice to the community.
TD.
the permit we will issue ultimately will be the same whether it's a wheelchair accessible vehicle or a regular taxi cab. So in your first finding, you were making a finding of whether or not additional taxi cabs are necessary, and from then you can assign those permits as you wish. But the permit would be the same for the company whether or not it's wheelchair accessible. You could incentivize, of course, it being a wheelchair accessible vehicle.
But we can't dictate it.
We can look at it
All right,
next-
so I make a motion that there is a public need and necessity for additional taxi cab permits in Davidson County.
I second the motion.
TD, could you put up the rule about with the, I think it's, 218? About the criteria for us to be reviewing and determining whether there's a public need and convenience. All right, there's a motion, there's been a second. Discussion?
Would the makers and the second of the motion be willing to provide some additional clarification as to why? Because it seems like we've said there doesn't appear to be a need for one reason, but there does appear to be a need for another reason. Can we not have that in there?
I don't know.
I'll make the case.
Yeah.
Let's let the marketplace decide. I mean, they're competing with Uber and Lyft, they're competing with each other. I mean, that's who will decide. If there's a demand, they'll make money. If there's no demand, then they won't. As long as they follow our rules and they don't harm the public, I'd say let them go into business. Let them expand the business.
I have one counter to that. Because isn't there still an issue with downtown with cabs waiting, like clogging up Broadway, waiting
Yeah.
for passengers?
I would argue that's a different issue, that the people who control the streets downtown need to deal with that issue because it's not just cabs, it's all cars. The problem is too many cars, not just taxis.
But again, we can't say, if I give them a permit, they could take that cab downtown and not have it be in the area where we need it.
Yeah,
They
it's
can.
free market.
But-
They'll go where they can make money. And so if there's a problem with automobiles downtown, not just cabs, then the people who control the streets, i.e. NDOT, need to deal with the issue, not with us trying to control it, you know. Yeah, let the marketplace decide. And obviously, there's a demand downtown. NDOT needs to decide how they want to control traffic. And apparently they're not, but I'm not downtown a lot, so I can't speak. But I would say, you know, as long as, our role as a regulators is to make sure they do not harm the public. That's, I would say, our primary role. And so rulemaking and enforcing the rules is what we should be concerned with. And, you know, the free market, I can't believe I'm saying this, will decide, you know, the need and the necessity ultimately.
And so from a regulatory perspective, I mean, some of the things that we've heard today is a suggestion, and I don't know how to track down the actual facts, but the suggestion that there are cab companies that are not complying with our regulations, and that we have that's going on, and that impacts sort of the market and what's happening with cabs. And I think, so that worries me as well, if we're not actually using our regulatory authority the way we should be.
And I'll deal with this later. I think we need more staff to do just those kinds of things.
But let's
That's a
remember.
different issue, I know.
Right now, we are on whether there's a public convenience and necessity for additional taxi cab permits or not.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, Commissioner Rogers. And again, ask legal or NDOT, you know, to me, it is plain that we need more of the wheelchair accessible vehicles and we don't need more of the other permits. So is there anything we can do to specify on that? And I think the answer is no, but I just want to clarify that that's true. Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. Can we do that? Yes, no?
And I would add that I'm afraid if we can't do that, then we're going to be lacking in our responsibility to the community about a public convenience and necessity.
Exactly.
Because
That's where I'm going.
bluntly put, it doesn't sound like there's a need for additional standard taxi cabs, but there is a public convenience and necessity for ADA compliant vehicles.
That's exactly my point, yes.
Well, and so Section 218 does say that as we think about awarding those and reviewing the applications, additional permits, we can consider, now you took it off. I was just getting ready to read it. I mean, this doesn't kind of help in this initial kind of, there's a need for more permits, except that there appears to be a need for more permits in order to get more accessible transportation. So in 218, which is in front of you, as we think about the applications for permits under I, it's underserved service programs and special passenger accommodations, right? So if there are underserved areas, certainly not downtown, if there are underserved special passenger accommodations or particular populations, that would give us an opportunity to offer those permits. And while I don't think that we have an enforceable mechanism, thank you, to absolutely make that happen, we do have next year to take a look at whether people actually, if they made a commitment to doing something accessible, for example, or to serve a particular area, and they didn't do it, we would certainly know that.
Agreed, 100%. So Commissioner Butterworth, based on your comment, I would amend my motion to say that We do have a public necessity under 218, Section I.
Commissioners, to help.
I'm still willing to second, and just past practices, they don't see us one time. If they say they're gonna put 5 ADA taxi cabs in their fleet and they don't, we can hold them accountable for that.
You think they're going to ruin their record of 0 complaints?
Well, remember, when you say hold them accountable, we can chastise them, we can deny them new or additional permits, but we can't take a permit away.
Right.
So we really have no regulatory authority to enforce a promise that's made to us today. And if it's not in our rules, I don't know of any rule that says we can't say, we're going to give you X number of permits for a particular for an ADA compliant vehicle. And
I'm just not aware of any authority given to you in the code to require that. That's what gives me pause.
but I don't know of anything that says we can't do that. So, and that's where I get down to the core here is how are we going to, how's this commission serving our public if we can't specify what we found there to be a public convenience and need? So, but that be aside, I also don't particularly like the fact that in order to get more ADA vehicles on the streets, we got to give somebody 25 to get 5 more on the street.
But do we?
Well, we don't have to give them any, but we can't,
That's what I'm saying, like, is that true, that we have to give
No, we never have to give.
We never have to give any, but,
non-ADA ones?
but in order to get ADA out there, people are asking for a larger number and a small number of them being committed to ADA.
Sure, they can ask for that, but we don't have to give them that.
And but then we don't give them any. I mean, if we can't, if the decision is either we give an open permit and we can't tie it to a particular to ADA compliant vehicles, then we have nothing.
And I think we
original
do
question. I
need
don't know
to
if we can-
focus on the ADA compliant and not just wheelchair, because deaf community, blind community.
I agree.
So I
And that's really important. And there are folks who might be somewhat ambulatory, but really do need more accommodation to get in and out
Is
of a
there a more
vehicle, for
inclusive term
example.
that we can use then, besides wheelchair accessible vehicles, just like?
Or ADA
Just
compliant.
ADA compliant?
ADA compliant.
Yeah, ADA compliant then.
You can also take into consideration what that particular company really does. So, I mean, that can be a part of your consideration. Do they come downtown all the time? Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But you can also take into consideration, what they do.
And are the drivers all ADA trained? Sure, that may be a consideration.
Yes, sir.
It may get closer to where I want to be, but,
Chair, I pulled up the January 2025 minutes, and there's a couple of relevant motions there from what the commission did last year. I can read from it. Commissioner Claver, with a second from Commissioner Rogers, moved to find there was a need of public convenience and necessity for additional taxi cabs. That was the first motion. Then Commissioner Rogers, with a second from Vice Chair Westlake, moved to approve Z-Trip's new company application for 25 permits, with 10 of those being vehicles being ADA accessible, contingent upon successful inspection by staff. Commissioner Claver proposed an amendment. There was not a second. The amendment failed. Vote was called on the original motion, which was approved. Further down, a new company, Fast Taxi, applied for 20 permits. There was no motion to approve those permits, and then there was a motion from Commissioner Penley with a second from Commissioner Claver to deny the new company's application for 20 permits based upon their lack of articulated business operational experience, lack of any ADA accessible vehicles in their fleet, and their stated intent to operate primarily in downtown Nashville, an area reported to be above capacity with traffic congestion in the Connect Downtown study.
thank you, TD. So we did have a motion that did require a certain number of the vehicles to be ADA compliant.
And the amendment failed.
But the
Oh, that one, okay.
yeah.
But again, taking the suggestion that if I want a permit and it's for vans and my company sells popsicles, and we need popsicles, and you give me the permit. And I want to point out, I mean, we've had a particular company in front of us that the meat of their company's business is to provide ADA service. And so if they were going to invest, they're going to invest with what their company is built on doing. They're not going to deviate down another channel when they're missing out on dollars in the area that we need served, and they're telling us that's what we need to serve.
Well, there's a motion on the table a motion on the table, if I remember it correctly, that there is a public convenience and necessity for additional taxi cab permits. And there's been a second, I believe. Is that correct, TD, on the minutes? Huh?
Commissioner Claver's motion, I don't have a second.
I second it.
I thought there was a second, okay.
I second.
All right.
Did
Any
you
further
amend your
discussion?
motion to talk about, to include a need for ADA
I would
accessible?
like to.
I'm just going to step in here and say I
unless
really
legal
don't
tells me I
see
can't.
anything in the code that gives you
Got
the
it.
authority to require companies to provide ADA compliant vehicles. It's a factor you can consider when granting new permits.
Got it.
But there's no way that companies would be on notice that you would be requiring them to buy certain kinds of vehicles in order to meet that need.
Preventing us from requesting it?
You can recommend it, but you cannot require it, I'm going to say.
Right, which
Yeah,
is
but
where
it's
we
a-
got
but it's a-
last year.
But it's a factor that you can take into consideration when deciding who to grant permits to and how many to grant. But you can't specify a certain number.
To that end, all of the new applicants did say about how many wheelchair accessible or ADA compliant vehicles they anticipated to have. So that could give us some guidance. If that is the need assessment is based on the ADA compliant need and wheelchair, it seems like we could look back at what each company committed to, and that would be a number in which we could be, other than Mr. Rogers, who's not going to be on board with that. But, and I have to say, I know, I mean, he makes a great point. It is, just for you all, just in case any of the permit holders or the need for drivers and the fact that you can't attract drivers means nothing to me in this assessment, because that doesn't have anything to do with the need for, of the community for the services that you provide. That's a fight within your industry over a scarce resource, which is drivers, I understand, but that doesn't affect our decision. It doesn't affect my decision as to whether there's a need for more permits. But I also do think, to Mr. Rogers' point, I mean, like that there's something to be said about the market dictating that, but if you take that to entertainment vehicles, we'd have ETVs all over the place, because there's a big need for that, but there's a lot of people in the community who don't want that, so.
If I could respond, my name was called.
You sure?
I agree, but I think taxis provide a positive public service. And we could argue about whether entertainment
There are other
vehicles
people
do or
who
not.
disagree.
I mean, seriously, I think there is a difference there.
So there's a motion. I will withdraw the amendment and still have a motion that there is a public need necessity for additional taxi cab permits.
And I will still second it.
All right,
And I
all in
will
fa-
still hope everybody who goes back and looks and listens to this discussion understands what led us to this decision.
If I could say one other thing, find your favorite council person and ask them to change the ordinance, to give us that
Yeah,
authority.
yeah, so I will say two things. One is, to the extent what we heard today is accurate and that there are a lot of empty permits sitting out there, I think your point is well taken, Commissioner Butterworth, that what leads us here is not a huge demand in general, but a very specific kind of demand. I think that's really important. And then I forgot what else I was going to say, so never mind.
Anything further? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion for a finding of public the convenience and necessity for additional cabs has passed. Now, do we take up the number? I believe that's next thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we need to discuss, or we need a motion on how many?
Did you keep
I'll
your
make-
count, Commissioner Penley?
Commissioner Rogers?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, there's a need for 97 additional permits.
Motion on the table. Is there a second? Going once, twice.
Worth a shot.
Motion fails for lack of a second. All right, but thank you for putting a number out there. Could we make sure we have discussions openly, please?
I'm reviewing my notes,
Yes.
so, yes, absolutely. I'm trying to look back at them to see it looks as though, Regal has 22 cabs, none are ADA compliant, but he said he could get two. So I would say, that's two in the total, and then, National Cab has 30 permits, they've got, they want 20 additional. I didn't have a note for how many,
They didn't say.
We didn't say, they didn't say.
okay. So maybe we need to, so I've got a 0, I guess, for that, unless we want to ask them if they're willing to commit, that would be part of their new fleet. And then out of the Z Trip, all 25?
They're-
25%,
No,
not 25.
25%. So
Again,
five-
their drivers, I think they said all of their drivers are ADA trained.
So that goes to
But
the.
they were limiting the number of,
Wheelchair accessible.
wheelchair accessible, although I'm assuming what they're indicating too is that there are vehicles where the wheelchair cannot go onto a ramp and be pulled up, but it does not mean that that vehicle would not be able to assist someone,
That's just someone in a chair to put the wheelchair inside.
right?
Yeah, or if somebody can transfer from a wheelchair, as long as they can carry a wheelchair, help a person transfer,
Or who has a
Yes,
for
ma'am.
example, or has a different kind of disability.
But I may have been wrong, but I thought they said all of their drivers were.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
And their business model is to help that community, so that's where so it seems like that's 25. So we have 27 that were discussed during the testimony. So,
So you're taking 25 as, they would have 25 because the 25 employees would be trained, not based on the vehicle itself?
yes, that they'd be trained in ADA compliance, that they'd have 5 wheelchair vehicles, and that their whole company model is to help that community, and it's not to go down to Broadway and sit and pick up people at 2 a.m., which there's a need for that. We don't
Yeah.
want people driving, but.
They might pick them up later from the hospital as they're
That's
leaving.
right, yeah, that's right.
And I think the consideration for the ADA should be only for wheelchairs.
Agreed,
There's a
yeah.
lot in that field. And if they're all ADA trained, that means those vehicles are ADA vehicles because they have the capacity to do it.
So I will say, for example, we get calls all the time from people who might use a service animal or a guide dog and have trouble finding a cab that will accommodate that, which is inappropriate, but true, yeah. So, that the training and the available accessibility is important.
Do they call just one of our licensed companies and get that response?
Sometimes, yes.
Can we make a rule that they are required to accept them?
They are required to, actually, under
Oh,
federal law.
current. Oh, under federal law, yeah.
It's the federal law that says it.
Tell them to make a complaint to us. I'd love to enforce that one.
We'll do that.
Commissioner Carr, Metro Nashville Network reminds you to use your microphone.
I'm usually heard very easily, so I'm sorry.
All right, so you came up with a number of 27?
Yes, sir. I'd make a motion that we, I'm not sure exactly how to phrase it, but that the need is for 27 additional permits due to the testimony with respect to ADA accessible or aided or committed to the service of that community, to the disability community, providing transportation to that community, which is desperately needed.
I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion?
Just in the interest of fairness, we weren't able to see if any of the other companies, like, we didn't ask them, would they be able to either have their employees go through training or have those vehicles retrofitted or bought for the ADA compliance.
I think it was only one.
Yeah.
Only one.
So I just want to make sure that we don't.
The motion is about number of permits, not who they go to.
Right, that's true. Okay. I'll be quiet.
All right, it's a motion on the table. There's been a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, the third step is to look at apportioning the 27 permits out between 3 different companies. And those are Regal, Nashville Cab, and Z-Trip.
Well, stick with how you got to the number.
Well, do we need to take those individually by permit requests here
Yes.
for the 3 different companies?
You would need to,
I think so.
out of the 27, you would need to go through each company and decide how many you were going to give each company.
Okay. Well, I'd make a motion that we approve additional permits in the amount of 2 for Regal Taxi. They have requested 52, and that we approve 2 additional permits based upon the testimony here today by the owner of Regal and his intent to do that.
His intent to do what?
To, that he would, if he got additional permits, that he would make them ADA compliant, or accessible, sorry.
And I think we might need to, even though we can't specify it, because I think he might have been saying out of the 52, I would make 2.
We can't hold him, he may not do it. But that's the reason why I'd give him 2.
Right.
Because he said that he would, so.
Can't require it.
That's right.
Though that, as Commissioner Carr mentioned earlier, or somebody mentioned about the carrot, that might be a carrot for consideration next year if we see that they do live up to the promise of making vehicles ADA compliant.
I'll second your motion.
My long motion, do I need to restate it?
TD, did you get the motion?
An approval for 2 additional permits for Regal Taxi based upon testimony by Regal's owner for the addition of ADA accessible vehicles.
I think that sets out the number and that sets out the basis for the motion. Sounds clear. All right, and I'm going to reiterate that living up to these promises will certainly go a long ways towards consideration next year of additional taxi cab or permits. Anyway, there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, TD. All right, then now taking Tennessee National Cab LLC's request for 20 additional permits.
I'll continue this. I make a motion to deny Tennessee National Cab's request for 20 additional permits based on the failure to meet the need of the communities in their proposal and stated reason for requesting the new permits.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we have Z-Trip's request for 25 additional permits.
I would make a motion, and I would encourage, I'd also like to have comment after I make my motion, if there's a second. That I'd make a motion that Z-Trip additional requests, or request for additional 25 permits be granted based on the testimony and the commitment that they have made to the disability, those that are disabled in our community, and providing a very needed transportation service.
And you wanted to make a comment?
Yes.
And I'm opening it for further discussion from anybody.
This, we appreciate what you all are doing. It sounds like it's being very successful and that there is a need for what you all are doing. Next time, please do our best to get applications in on time. Even though you all had a good excuse this time, we appreciate that, so that we're not, that there's no appearance that we're giving anybody any favors for different things. So, because that certainly is not the case, but we are glad that you are on the road to recovery. So good luck to you.
And I'd also like to add as many stats as you can give us next year on what vehicles these 25 permits ended up going to. Our recommendation is 25, but again, we can't enforce that, but I'd like to know next year, like, what vehicles these 25 permits went to.
I also would like to say that my vote will be influenced by their no complaint. And we'll hope that they continue in that, because I think that's important.
Finally, I'd like to add that I appreciate the very organized presentation and the information that you were able to provide to us. I think you know that the reason we waived the late filing of your application was because of your business plan and commitment to the handicapped community. Anybody else? All right, motion's on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have 27 more taxi cab permits out there. Doesn't mean there's going to be 27 more cabs, but we have 27 more taxi cabs out, or taxi permits out. And hopefully, we have added at least seven wheelchair accessible vehicles.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I'm supposed to be at 5 o'clock at the courthouse for a interview.
Yes,
So-
you got to go. We still have a quorum, though. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Butterworth, I saw that you have been reappointed. Congratulations, and thank you for your service.
You're welcome. I haven't been approved yet.
Well,
I predict that you will be.
they invited you for a reason. All right, there's a agenda item, Director Rooker, shared urban mobile devices, 2025 ride
TD just wants to
TD?
give you the ride summary, how many rides were taken by which companies.
I'll move through this quickly, Commissioners. The last 5 years of data are up on the board for scooters and e-bikes. You'll notice as scooter rides drop a little bit as e-bike rides continue to climb with new e-bikes out on the street. Those are our stats for 2025. 1 million rides and 147 e-bike rides, the most we've had in Nashville. I'm going to move on to the next slide. The most rides we had in a month was in August with 156,000. That's quite a lot of ridership. In a single week, we had 37,599 the week of October 13th through 19th. Most rides in a single day was 10,665 on October the 18th.
What event was it?
Yeah, and interestingly, I did look into that. I was curious as well. It was a No Kings protest in downtown Nashville. Interesting. Moving to our next slide, this is a heat map of where scooters are used in Nashville. You can see the river kind of run through that map there. So that's downtown Nashville. We're getting rides over into East Nashville, up into Germantown, over into West End, then down into WeHo down there, Wedgwood, Houston. Top segments most used, Broadway to Mumbrian, 10th Avenue North, Division, 8th South and 12th South in that order. Broadway's obviously the most used route for scooters and e-bikes in the city. Finally, I'll just move on to one more slide here. This is our trip origins. This is where rides begin. So 70% are in that kind of central district in the downtown area, with almost 20% over in the Midtown Hills district. That leaves an additional 9% of rides that are originating outside of downtown and Midtown, and we can attribute those rides over 100,000 a year to our first and last mile, the additional scooters and e-bikes that are placed outside of downtown for transit connectivity, near WeGo bus stops, near multi-housing units and employment centers. So that's pretty cool. The companies frankly wouldn't choose to put them outside of downtown and midtown if we didn't allocate additional fleet to that, and we're getting 100,000 rides or 9% a year from that. Those are the slides I have to recap the year for SUMDs. I can answer any questions if you have those briefly.
Just a comment that I'm very pleased to see the e-bike numbers where they are. So great work, TD, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'd remind you, the reason there are more bikes on the street is about half of them are required by the contract, correct? And the other half are required as a minimum by a rule that we passed 2 years ago. I forget. So it's all up, it's because of us, basically.
So we're allowed to dictate requirements of bikes, but we can't dictate wheelchair accessible vans. Somewhere we need to find out where we got the authority to do it on the e-bikes.
Tell you what, you're an attorney, if you'll write the bill, I'll find a sponsor.
So that's the other thing I was going to say, was that there is a really big interest on the part of the Mayor's Advisory Committee on People with Disabilities to talk to Metro Council about requiring a minimum percentage of wheelchair accessible and ADA accessible vans going forward.
And I don't want that percentages, because that makes us hostages to grant 25 with the hope they're going to put 25% of them as wheelchair. I want to be able to put a number on them.
I'll let my colleagues know that.
Thank you.
Are you preparing legislation? Seriously?
I'm not. I think there are people who are.
Okay. If I had a question, I'd like to ask, where is the proposed contract with Bicycle Transit Systems?
My understanding is the contract's still under negotiation with Metro Legal, with the legal team from Bicycle Transit Systems, and the mayor's office as well.
It's being reviewed by the mayor's office, correct?
That is the latest update.
It is correct. And it's been there for several months. Okay.
That's correct.
Has there been any progress on a new RFP for the contracts that are, they're ending when, June?
June 11th, and you will see that next month on your agenda. Yes, sir.
Can we see it before the meeting? Is that possible? Even if it's a few
I'll have to
days?
check on that. I don't know if it's a procurement issue or not. I'll have to check on that.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. All right, other business, Director.
Yes, I have one quick thing. We had two new employees we were going to introduce to the commission, but at 4 o'clock, they had to leave. But Chantel Fleming and Charity Cowan are two new members of our staff. You will get to know them. We'll try to bring them in next month. I should have done that at the first, but I didn't think we'd go past 4. So show you what I know. Today was Charity's actually her first day with our office. So she got thrown into the. We hope she shows back up tomorrow. No, they're doing a good job. Chantel's been with us a couple of weeks now, and things are looking good right now. So just wanted to introduce them. They work in the office. They're the office staff. No, sir. They're just office staff.
So you have 5 total staff?
We have 5 total staff now. Yes, sir.
And you need more, according to this commissioner. If I could note one other business, I handed out a little spreadsheet I did. I made the mistake of reading the fee study that was done by NDOT and immediately jumped down a rabbit hole and did several public records requests about how much we're collecting. And I took the current fees, which I'm not sure are all correct, out of the fee study. And then I asked Mr. Schleifer to tell me what years those had been set. And I just did that for your nighttime reading, I guess. If you'll notice, some of those fees were set a long time ago. I mean,
Thank you, Carrie.
fee for a taxi cab license is $20. You can't get a beer and a good burger for $20 anymore.
Would those need to be reviewed as they come up? Like, would the taxi cab one need to be reviewed in this?
I would assume they could be changed by like any other rule with, 2 weeks
And that's
advance
my-
notice.
that's
Have to notice it correctly, yeah.
Yeah, It can be done at any time, like any other rule.
It's just like the record ordinance gives you the ability to fluctuate that rate or make that rate different. So as long as it's in the ordinance that you have the authority to make of the rule, you can do it.
I would like to add that we have given some of these areas several increases to the public. While we did not increase our rates, they asked for increase on their rates, and we granted them.
Yes, that is true.
All right, I think this is when we have to close the meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. The broadcast section of this meeting has concluded. The remaining portions of the meeting will not be broadcast because the commission will be considering confidential and protected criminal history background information of driver applicants. Questions should be directed to the Transportation Licensing Commission office at 615-862-6777 or 311. All right,
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.